Join us for Boston Public Radio with Jim Braude and Marjorie Egan. Coming up next on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our program.
And Cambridge Trust, a division of Eastern Bank, offering business and personal wealth management and private banking services, investing more than $240 million in local communities since 1994. More at cambridgetrust.com. Turtle ventures through a forest in search of the lake, and a young bush baby in South Africa searches for a new home. Don't miss nature. Big Little Journeys, tonight at 8 on GBH2.
This week on Under the Radar with Callie Crossley, clean energy meets the challenges to sweltering heat waves striking the U.S. and Europe. New York says no way to AI data centers. Could Massachusetts be next? And free-roaming cats are eating more than mice and birds. It's our environmental news roundtable. That's Under the Radar with me, Callie Crossley, tonight at 9 here on 89.7 GBH and the GBH app.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Braude, head on BPR and GBH and NEPM live from the library. The World Cup hangover is here, but some in the state legislature want the party to continue, offering what they call a fun agenda to extend drinking hours permanently. Authority Trenni Casey on the World Cup final, the Red Sox stunning win streak, and a 91-year-old walking the Appalachian Trail. Then it's Michael Curry. He'll zoom in from the NAACP convention in Chicago, where they have just unveiled an independent autopsy in the death of Nolan Wells.
I'm Marjorie Egan. In the second hour, it's national security expert Juliette Kayyem with the latest on the war in Iran. Then we'll continue our tube-to-beat obsession with a preview of Cambridge's Best of the Worst event. Jim is the MC, I believe. And we'll end the show with some good condiment talk, opening the phone and text lines to hear your favorite sauces and toppings. It's all ahead on BPR Live from the Boston Public Library.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Kristen Wright. President Trump is expected to arrive to Dover Air Force Base soon to attend the dignified transfer of U.S. service members killed by Iranian strikes in recent days. 4 American service members have been killed in the Middle East since Friday. The remains will be returned to the troops' families. President Trump made new threats against Iran online this morning. NPR's Franco Ordonez reports on the potential political consequences of the war.
The defense today asking for billions more to cover the costs of the war. All that is likely to have political impacts, especially as the midterms approach. Now, Trump ran for office criticizing past wars in the Middle East. Trump wants to sell Americans on this narrative that things are going great in the U.S. The stock market is hitting record highs, that inflation is dropping. But having Americans serving overseas killed by Iranian strikes runs counter to that.
That's NPR's Franco Ordonez reporting. Republican campaign committees have vastly more cash than their Democratic counterparts heading into the midterms. NPR's Tamara Keith takes a closer look at the latest filings with the Federal Election Commission.
All told, the Republican Party campaign committees and the MAGA Inc. super PAC ended June with more than $1 billion cash on hand. The president's super PAC alone has more than $400 million in the bank, though it isn't clear yet how much of it will get spent in the midterms to defend Republican control of Congress. Meanwhile, the Democratic National Committee is at a negative $2 million if you take debt into account. Combined, the Democratic committees are trailing the Republican committees by more than $700 million. Democratic candidates, however, have raised significant sums directly to their campaigns. Tamara Keith, NPR News.
Ben Crump, the attorney for the family of Nolan Wells, shared the preliminary findings of the family's independently commissioned autopsy this morning. The cause and manner of death were found to be undetermined, pending investigation. The 18-year-old's body was found offshore after a July 4th boat trip. Wells, who was black, had gone with a group of all-white friends to Horn Island off the Mississippi coast. The state's official autopsy is ongoing. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has fired the country's top military commander. NPR's Greg Myrie reports.
In a late-night social media post, President Zelensky dismissed the head of the armed forces, General Alexander Syrskyi. The general, age 60, was credited with winning several key battles in recent years. But he's also a Soviet-trained officer who favored rigid battlefield tactics. He clashed with the popular defense minister, 35-year-old Mikhailo Fedorov, a leading advocate of innovative drone warfare.
This is NPR News.
Good morning. With the latest from the GBH newsroom in Boston, I'm Craig Lamolt. State officials have certified the ballot questions for the November election. GBH's Diana Dame has some details on the pretty long list.
9 questions have made it on the ballot this year. It's the first time Massachusetts has seen this many since 1994. The questions range from public records law and unionizing public defenders to election day voter registration and repealing recreational marijuana. Secretary of State Bill Galvin says the long list of questions means ballots in most cities and towns will be 2 to 3 pages long and that the voter information booklet could go on for 88 pages. Diana Dame.
Summer camps have had to pivot this year when it comes to outdoor activities thanks to smoke blowing down from the Canadian wildfires. Anne Marie Gallo runs Summer's Edge Day Camp in Lexington with nearly 100 kids enrolled. Gallo says at certain points they've decided to move campers indoors.
When there was a health advisory on and the air quality was really poor, we just moved our curriculum inside. The only thing we can't do inside is archery.
The National Weather Service says air quality in Massachusetts has improved after taking a major dip last week. But with wildfires still burning, another hit to air quality is a possibility. Partly sunny today, a chance of showers throughout the day, high today in the mid-80s, and maybe a little bit more rain overnight, and it looks like nice weather for the next several days. The Red Sox host a doubleheader today as they try to tie a franchise record of 15 wins in a row, and then hopefully break it in the second game. The first game is at 1:35, and the second one starts at 7:10. You're listening to GBH News. The time is 11:05.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the Andrew Carnegie Foundation, formerly Carnegie Corporation of New York, working to reduce political polarization through support for education, democracy, and peace. More information at carnegie.org.
You're listening to BPR on GBH and NEPM. Jim Browdy and Marjorie Egan. We are broadcasting live from the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com. Thank you, /GBH News. Back here on Friday. No tickets or RSVP needed, Jim. On July 29th, programming note, from 11 to noon, we're going to be joined by the Governor of the Commonwealth, Maura Healey, and on August 11th, the Attorney General, Andrea Joy Campbell, will be here also at the Boston Public Library. Good morning.
Hey, and since you asked, Marjorie,
Yep.
In the local news it mentioned there were 9 questions that are going to be in the ballot. I have a piece coming out in the Globe today or tomorrow. It'll be online today or tomorrow, talking about why we have such a huge number of ballot questions and what to do about it.
Did you hear the news says it's going to be an 88-page voter information booklet?
Well, by the way,
I don't know how many of us are going to get through that.
Excuse me. That's the point at which you're supposed to say, oh, by the way, in late September, early October, we will do what we did last ballot cycle. Right. We will do debates on air on all 9 ballot questions. Is that what you meant to say or not?
Riveting.
This is really... Self-promotion is fairly important
I tell you,
in radio.
Jim, there's nothing like a ballot question debate to get the juices flowing.
Okay, I'm sorry I brought it all up. And thank you for helping promote my piece in the Globe. I really appreciate that.
No, it's very good. I read it.
It's
really
story.
good. Really good.
It's really good. Thank you.
It is.
It's really good.
Yep.
Okay, apparently the state Senate, that's our state Senate, is planning to make Massachusetts fun again. A slate of legislators has proposed amendments to the Economic Development Bill that would extend these, World Cup drinking rules that are set to expire on the 31st of the month and would allow them to become permanent public drinking zones, later last calls at bars, and maybe even bringing back happy hour, let the pearl clutching commence. Now, about happy hour, you'll remember Governor Healey was against it before she was for it. Here she is with us 2 years ago. Do you support the concept of having happy hour again in the Commonwealth?
I think there are problems with it, to be honest. But again, I'm going to look at, problems for restaurants and our hospitality industry, to be honest. So, look, in the scheme of things, what I'm really focused on, is not happy hour.
Well, that was then. This is now. Obviously, the World Cup changed a lot of things, including for the governor. Here she is on Greg Hill's WEI show last month.
Can you ever see happy hour coming back?
Yeah, I am. I personally support happy hour. That said, it's like a local option, But, for me, it's especially like I really want 20-somethings, 18 to 35-year-olds staying in Boston, staying in Massachusetts.
And I want 80-year-olds staying in Massachusetts, so we're on the same track. So what do you think? 877-301-8970, call or text. If the legislature, which is not a given, by the way, the Senate's in favor, who knows what the House is going to do. If the legislature approves a local option for public drinking, later hours, and even happy hour, what's next? Maybe they'll do something really wild and do the same thing, a local option for rent control. They won't. I'm kidding. Can we make Massachusetts fun again, or are we just kidding ourselves? 877-301-8970. What are you laughing about?
Well, these stories about this are so funny.
Well, how so?
Well, the legislature is promoting a quote-unquote fun agenda because we're so boring here. We need to, we have to get a home rule petition apparently for happy hour. Maura Healey thinks that we should.
Meaning individual cities and towns can't do it on their own. They need approval.
Should be able to decide. But all these, Julian Sears talking about how boring we are. He's a guy from Provincetown, one of the state senators from Provincetown. Yep. We need to bring back the fun factor. I mean, what you just said about the 18 to 35-year-olds, I mean, that's a big deal.
I didn't say that. She said that.
Well,
Healey said that.
It's the idea that you can't, that bars close so early around here compared to the rest of the world. We've become we're the city that always sleeps is our reputation around the country, and I think we gotta change that.
Can I clarify something? This bill that the Senate apparently is going to either has approved or will approve. We don't know what's going to happen in the House, and the clock is running because they go on their 5-month vacation in a bunch of days, in 7 days, 9 days, whatever it is a double local option, sort of. It means cities and towns have to adopt it, so it's not foisted on you. And within the city and town, for example, Mayor Wu told us last time she was here, she supports this, but again, needs the legislature to approve. Within the city that approves it, that adopts the local option, individual restaurants and bars could, she's laughing, either do it or not do it. When you're trying to have a serious conversation with Marjorie and she starts laughing, the only thing to do is stop talking. So go ahead, take it away.
I mean, this is Kelly Garrity. We had her on the show. She's got a very funny column
Boston
about
Globe.
this. She's talking about how this agenda, the fun agenda that we need to have more of dance parties going on around here, isn't about changing the rules on booze, even though it is. But Julian Sear, the guy from the Cape, wants to have an amendment that will funnel money toward, and this is very good, Jim, micro grants to artists and performers. And then this other guy, the or maybe it's a woman, State Senator Joe Comerford is push proposals for outdoor recreation. And this would include things like more corn mazes.
Yeah. Remember that piece you did? Marjorie did a piece when she was in the Herald where she got lost in the corn maze.
No.
It was the front page. What are you talking about?
I didn't get lost in the corn maze.
Somebody got lost
Somebody
in the corn
else got lost in the corn maze.
And then lost their kids
and they had to
or
call
something?
911 in the corn maze. But I didn't know there was a need for more corn mazes in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Yeah. But that's one of the things that money's going to go toward. I did not get lost in the corn maze. What happened is this couple got lost in the corn maze. It was odd because in the corn maze there's a ladder you can climb up so you can see where you are in the corn maze, but I guess they didn't know that, and they called 911. So I went up as an investigative reporter at the Boston Herald.
You did a beautiful
job. Did an expose on the corn maze, and I found that you could get out of the corn maze quite easily. But they had
Let me tell you.
Yeah, look at that ridiculous picture.
I have a good friend, a family that was either going to move here or Iowa last week.
Yeah.
And when they found out there were so few corn mazes here,
exactly.
Iowa, they are in Des Moines for good.
But we have to look at this two ways. It's more fun. It's more fun.
And more corn mazes.
The Howl at the Moon people really want this at bar.
Okay.
And
oh my God! Can we put that? Oh, we did put it up.
Yeah. There
Here's
could be more
a picture
corn
of
mazes.
Marjorie getting lost in the corn maze. That is sad that you did that.
I am.
No, it's beautiful.
It was kind of my Pulitzer Prize attempt.
I know, it was really good.
Didn't go that well.
No, apparently didn't.
Anyway, 877-301-8970. Are we too boring around here? Are we the city it was a terrible photograph,
No, it was a great photograph.
Are we the city that always sleeps? Do we need more partying and dancing into the wee hours?
Can I ask you?
Because we want the 18 to 35-year-olds to stay. The tea's got to stay open later.
Okay, fine. So even if it turns out, for argument's sake, by the way, Phil Lang is here in early August, right? Speaking of the T. Hello, Jamie. T, yes, he is. Staying open late. when something is I know I've made this argument a million times, but even if you're against happy hour, for example, why shouldn't your city and town decide?
They should.
So the beauty of this legislation, should it become law, which Healy supports and the Senate supports, we'll find out what the House does, is your individual city and town will decide if they're doing it. So even if you're opposed, it's far better you voice that opposition in your local community. And I have to say, I understand, as you know, I'm a big fan of Michael Dukakis, who banned happy hour after that woman, I think from Weymouth, died.
Yeah, that was horrible.
But there wasn't rideshare then.
Uber and Lyft
have
changed everything. They had changed everything. I
Does.
mean, you don't want to have to take an Uber and Lyft, for 20 miles and cost you a fortune.
No.
But you certainly, I would suspect that if Uber and Lyft were around in those during that tragic, it might have been a different kind of situation. Because if you've got young kids now, you know that they are doing a lot of Uber and Lyfting on nights that they plan on going out drinking. 877-301-8970. Michelle, in the car, are you more for fun and corn mazes here in the Commonwealth?
Hi, Michelle.
Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, I am. Hold on, I just have it for a sec.
No, we have nowhere to go. It's just a live radio show.
I am for fun in the Commonwealth.
You are.
I do agree with extending the clubs, the evening, if you're out dancing, that kind of thing. 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock last call, 2 o'clock leave, I think is early for a city like Boston.
Yeah.
But the happy hour, I'll show my age, but I do remember the time when it was ladies only or happy hour, 2-for-1 drinks, and it would be all women in the bar, and then when it was over, all men hit on the drunk women. So
it's a beautiful image.
Those were the days. Those were the days, Michelle.
Yeah.
So where are you today? I don't mean where are you, but what's your position on this today?
Well, I think happy hour could be maybe not just all about free drinks or something like that, but maybe combined with maybe food or...
It is. It is.
So,
Michelle.
It's maybe more of a community type of offering versus come get drunk and go home early.
Okay, we got that. Thank you.
I think food is the big draw of the happy hour. You don't have to have 2-for-1s, by the way. You can just discount the drinks, have them a little bit cheaper. But I mean, that's the other thing. Everybody's broke, especially when they're 18 to 35. They can't afford their rent. They can't afford anything. You get tons of free food at happy hour. That's the whole thing.
Or discounted food generally.
Yeah, well, lots of times they have like buffets. You can get like nachos, or you can get
When was the last time you were at happy hour? Like 40 years ago?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Listen, I'm a grandmother. I'm not going to one of these. Yes, I am. I'm not going
that,
to. But once upon a time, I had my vibe going, Jim, and I know I would have been like to be out till 3 o'clock in the morning. And plus, the other thing is they're talking about the drinking zones, which we've experimented with, right? So you can buy a drink at some nice bar wherever you are, and especially if you're like in the Back Bay, that's so beautiful, or South Boston, other parts of the city, and just walk around the neighborhood. How great is that?
By the way, our staff, which always focuses on the most important things, is spending the last 10 minutes researching corn mazes in Massachusetts.
That's right.
And apparently, there are at least a dozen corn mazes throughout the state.
It's not enough, Jim.
No,
not enough.
Well, I would argue
more.
it's never enough. Now, Peter in Mystic writes, it is reckless to think that because the Scots were able to drink Boston dry and not get completely messy and cause mayhem and chaos across the city is evidence that more drinking should be encouraged among ordinary Americans. The Scots and the Irish, Marjorie's Irish, are absolute professionals. Americans are by and large complete amateurs. The number is 877-301-8970. We're talking about a Senate proposal endorsed by the governor that would extend make permanent the drinking rules that were in existence through July 31st because of the World Cup, and also go back to happy hour, which we have not had for more than 40 years. Tom in Salem, you're next. Hi.
Hey, guys. I would say that extending hours, awesome, fine. Personally, I go to bed very early.
So do I.
But I remember when I was a youngster, 30, in Syracuse, New York, going out with work colleagues during happy hour and order a round of beers. Everybody gets 2. Then somebody's like, well, I get the next round. Then suddenly you have 4. And then somebody's like, well, I get the third round. And now you've got like 8 beers sitting in front of you. And it's like, I didn't want this. Yet here I am. And then you either abandon or, well...
So what are you
gee whiz,
saying?
did I
Because
abandon him?
there'll be too many irresponsible drinkers, we still shouldn't be doing that. Is that where you're going?
I actually, I don't. It's like, you want a drink, buy a drink. Drink a drink. You want 2 drinks, buy 2 drinks. But happy hours to me is encouraging people to have more than they may necessarily want.
Well, by the way, that's not a ridiculous argument. I'd say that's the principal argument. Again, you're not exactly part of the fun culture, Tom, that Marjorie was talking about. But I respect
Apparently not.
I respect your opinion, and I think it's a decent point. But there are a couple things.
What?
There are laws that existed. I know it's a burden on bars, which is why some bars and restaurants won't buy into the happy hour thing, where they can be held responsible if they let people drink too much and leave. And I know that's a burden, and I know a lot of restaurants and bars don't like it, but that is the law. So I don't think anybody's having 8 beers, Tom. But having said that, very valuable point of view. Thank
you. As we've all been reading endlessly, young people are drinking less and less and less, which is another great point. Now, I don't know if they're doing ketamine or what they're doing instead, but the world is so different now.
It is.
I mean, and I think with all due respect for this, those of us who are over 50, it's a whole new kettle of fish.
Listen to this.
Kettle of fish. That's a good example. Yeah.
Anonymous texter, sounds like the best solution is happy hour at corn mazes. I think that's an excellent idea.
Well, if you haven't been to a corn maze, I mean, I hope people know what it is, right? Where it's like a big maze and it's corn stalks, so you can't see.
That's why it's called a corn maze.
That's right. So they're about like 8 feet tall or something. And you try to find your way.
I've never been to one.
There's a couple of. I think I went to one on Route 1. That was where I went to the corn maze. I was there, and that was
an excellent
did the
story
investigation.
you wrote.
Yeah, but they're kind of fun things in the fall, and
they are.
But again. We are kind of,
look, that is lovely. What is wrong with that photo?
Isn't that great?
It is beautiful.
Yeah, there I am. I'm looking.
Really,
put that in a mug.
Said put it on a mug. You are totally right.
I look in awe of the huge stalks of corn up there.
It's beautiful.
It's the kind of thing I did at the Herald,
No, it did. It was high quality journalism.
I went to corn mazes, went to fetish fairs. I had all sorts of great assignments. But somebody just texted before, and I've lost the text now, but talks about how their kid just came back from New York City, and how New York City is a city that never sleeps, and we are in the city that sleeps nonstop. And you want kind of a little bit more of a middle of the road kind of thing. And again, like I said before, 30 and 40 years ago, when people my age were out at bar hopping, you either drove home when you shouldn't have been driving home, or you took a taxi, which is very expensive, and a lot of people didn't take taxis. It's a whole different world now.
Well, Lyft and Uber are not much cheaper than a taxi, by the way, if they're cheaper
yes, but
at
you
all.
may recall, Jim, in Boston when you called for a taxi, how long would it take the taxi to get you?
Well, Governor Healy is here what day is it? A week from today, I think she's here. An interesting question is, I think last time we spoke to Phil Lang, I think what he said to us when we asked about late night service, remember they tried it and then it didn't?
Yeah.
I think he said it's not high on our priority list. It would seem to me that if the governor is in favor of happy hour and in favor of these other reforms, meaning making permanent, keeping bars open if they choose till 3 a.m., don't you think what needs to go with that is her putting pressure on Phil Lang that late night service be tried again?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with maintenance, too. That's what Phil Lang said before.
Well, there's another issue, by the way. No, before you do that, which we haven't discussed, which is really important. For a bar to stay open or a restaurant to stay open till 3 o'clock, who also has to work till 3 o'clock, the people in the places,
right.
A lot of them are not in a position to afford a ride share. They need an affordable subway. So it's another thing. We'll talk to Governor Healy about it again next week when she's there.
Now, apparently, Senator Sear is very enthusiastic about this whole thing because a bunch of legislators, Jim, they went to a dance party. Did you know
that?
They were all there
to watch a World Cup.
Yeah, that was that what they were doing?
I thought so, yeah.
And they really got excited about the whole thing. But when you think, apparently this passed the Senate once before, they didn't get through the House.
Yeah.
Now, who runs the House? It's Ron Mariano, the guy
from Quincy. Yeah.
Do you think of him as a fun and vibe and energy kind of guy?
Well, he was. I don't know if he was a rep during the era when Tom Finneran was the speaker, and they had the toga party.
The toga party.
For those who don't remember of a certain age, there was a toga party on the floor of the House of Representatives late at night when a number of the state reps, which is shocking, were drunk.
They were drunk.
And they were chanting toga,
toga.
Toga, toga.
Yeah. And there was
the Herald really did that one up.
Oh, gosh, I think
time,
I was at that one, too.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some leg shaving that went on there at the toga party?
I believe there was. Well, it's debatable. In any case, Woody, the UPS driver, checks corn mazes Is Marjorie being paid off by
am.
Big Corn?
That's right.
Anonymous texter, my happy hour is 11 to 1, Monday through Friday. Got to be drunk to get through the news, etc. Let's go to Jim in a car. We're talking about making Massachusetts more fun as a local option, of course. Hi, Jim.
Hey, guys. Hey, just a quick compromise. Why not have the happy hour at 2 in the morning? Everybody gets 2 drinks for the price of 1, and you go home. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
So does that mean you're not in favor of it, that little bit of sarcasm there? Are you opposed to the happy hour thing or what?
Oh, no. When it comes to expanding drinking hours, I'm not opposed to anything.
Jim, thank you for your candor. We appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, as somebody says about how the 18 to 35 crowd are all smoking pot, but apparently they're not. It's not like they've made up with the booze with smoking pot. The thing I've heard about is microdosing ketamine.
I know that.
Yeah.
But don't make light of it, by the way.
I'm not making light of it.
So can I get back?
Have you done that, Jim?
No. Can I get back to what do you call it? To not corn mazes. Drunk driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot before. Thanks to a man who we were lucky enough to meet, Ron Bersani, we talk about him a lot, who is responsible for Melanie's Law, which changed drunk driving laws ages ago. Melanie Powell was his granddaughter who was killed by a drunk driver. Don't you think in this state, you've said this a lot of times, so I know you think, people are much more responsible about driving when either drunk or too tipsy to be drunk. Don't you think that's the case?
I think sometimes we operate from the assumption that
worst case
that
scenarios.
People don't know how to drink, and I would argue there are more people that do know how to drink than don't know how to drink. Otherwise, we'd really be in big trouble. I mean, you know, most people are not alcoholics, thank goodness. And one of the things that we learned in the course of reporting on that the case of 13-year-old Melanie Powell is that the woman that had been arrested for killing her in the middle of the day had a long history of drunk driving arrests. And I think the statistic was if you are arrested for drunk driving, you've probably driven drunk about 100 times. So the people that are in these accidents tend to be people with serious drinking problems, not people that are at happy hours.
Can I read here's an anonymous texter. Not more corn mazes, all corn mazes. Once you come to our state, you can't find your way out. That'll solve the expatriation problem. We need to become Massachusetts. It's pretty clever, actually. Ian and Lowell.
If you haven't done it, it's really fun to do it in the fall.
That's enough. We've talked about corn mazes about 1,000 times more than it merits.
Because this is what this money's going to go to, Jim.
Corn mazes.
We need more money for corn mazes.
You know, you're going to destroy the whole legislative effort.
Vineyard wine tastings,
well, that's fine.
Too. And micro grants to artists and performers.
You ever been to a vineyard on the Cape? There's one in Truro, by the way, that's fabulous.
I have not been to a vineyard on the Cape.
Ian and Lowell, is the rest of the country burning wasteland? I think we can drag ourselves out of our puritanical pit and join in having happy hour like everyone else. It's not everyone else, but it's a majority of jurisdictions do have it. Do you want to take one more call?
Jackie in the car says, I'd love to be able to walk around some towns with a beverage. Provincetown is the perfect spot to have a glass of wine and wander the streets and look at all the shops. Can you do that in Provincetown? I don't think so.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't think so.
I don't think you can.
I would bet that people do, but I should know better.
Well, they probably put it in some kind of cup that looks like a water bottle or something like that.
Can you imagine Ryan Landry not walking down the street having a drink on
No, but you know,
it
was a big hit. Cambridge just did it, right? And it was wonderful. And there were certain people that you could just sit outside and your favorite thing, Jim, look around at other people walking around.
Yeah.
And you could do that with your wine or your beer or your margarita or whatever.
Ellen,
okay.
We can squeeze in one more. From Weymouth. You have
Ellen.
45 seconds. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, guys. I would love the idea of walking around with a drink. I think that would be fabulous.
Me too.
Going from place to place. I do think that the people who should be deciding this should not be the legislature and possibly be the people who are actually dealing with the happy hour, the servers, and the business owners.
Well, that's, by the way, the proposed law would give local option, and within the city or town that adopts the local option, individual restaurants and bars make the decisions for themselves. So that is the proposal, you know?
Yeah, I just wish the servers, I mean, usually the server is 5'2" and 100 pounds, and it's not easy to shut somebody off who's drunk and 300 pounds.
Well, hopefully there's somebody there beyond the server who weighs 90. But we hear you, Ellen. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll discuss this with Governor Healy when she's here a week from today.
We'll get her take on corn mazes. I bet she spent a lot of time in them herself. We're out of time now. Thank you for your calls and texts. After this quick break, our Sports Authority, Trenni Casey, is going to zoom in. She's going to do a World Cup look back, and also tell us about this 91-year-old hiker who's going 2,000 plus miles. It's the Appalachian Trail is more than 2,000 miles. Well, he's gonna hike the Appalachian Trail. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Brad. The entire Appalachian Trail. Listen to BPR, GBH, and NAPM live from the BPL, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
Cape Cod and the islands are known as a summer vacation land, but not for everyone. Too many year-rounders are struggling with housing, transportation, and just getting by.
It makes me so angry. There's no reason for these people to be homeless.
This week on GBH, a series of special reports from CAI and Connecting the Commonwealth. Two Cape Cods, a look back at hidden poverty on the Cape and Islands. This week on GBH's Morning Edition and All Things Considered.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you. And the Cambridge Homes, a nonprofit, independent, and assisted living community in Cambridge, offering residents supportive services as well as cultural, educational, and social programs. thecambridgehomes.org/tradition. And Mass General Brigham Health Plan, providing helpful digital tools, world-class providers, and coverage that help you live in the moment. More at massgeneralbrighamhealthplan.org.
Welcome back to BPR and GBH and NAPM. Marjorie Egan, Jim Browdy, live from the library, streaming youtube.com/GBH News. A week from today, the governor is with us for an hour of Ask the Governor, and at the library, obviously. August 11th, the Attorney General here at the library as well. Look at the background for Trenni. We're joined now live on Zoom by Trenni Casey, who is apparently joining us from a patio in her home state of Wisconsin, where she's been sleeping 9 hours a night. She is an anchor for NBC Sports Boston and a BPR contributor. That's real, the background, yes or no?
Yes, this is not like a fake background.
That is gorgeous.
And it's not smoky now, which is nice. When I first got up here, the smoke from the wildfires, I mean, we're probably only, 4 hours from the boundary waters in Canada and Minnesota. So the smoke here was really, really bad for a couple of days, but some rain came through and cleared it out. So yeah, this is my parents' front porch patio.
It's beautiful.
Where are you?
Wisconsin.
Oh, she's from, I know, but this is a big state. We're in Massachusetts.
If you look, this is like the state of Wisconsin. I'm like way up here.
What's the name of the place?
So north, it's called Townsend, Wisconsin. It's unincorporated. It's got a volunteer fire. It's very small.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're having a wonderful time out there.
But
it's
great.
Beautiful.
I have it. The air is so clear. I do want to know why Marjorie was in a corn maze. I missed that today.
Because this couple and their kid called 911. They got stuck in a corn maze, and the Herald sent me up there to do an investigation on the travails of the corn maze business. But anyway, I get out of there in time. So tell us, what's your, I hate to use this word, but it's a good one, it's useful, your takeaway from the World Cup adventure, Trenni. What do you think?
So I think on a local level, it was a rousing success. I think it was fun to have the entire world here. I think a lot of times there's all these misconceptions about what a place is like when you only get the news about it, right? So, you might watch the news about a European country and think people are one way, and then you go and you realize it's a lovely place. And I think that's happening now in Europe, where people are hearing what they know about the United States is what they read about in the news and what they know about President Trump. And they come here and they're not exactly sure if they'll be welcomed and what it'll be like. And I think it really opened people's eyes to what the United States really is like once you sort of get into the communities. I think for the most part, the matches were exciting. You ended up having the 4 best teams in the Final Four. You had a great storyline in the final with Spain and Argentina, and Lionel Messi, of course, against Lamine Yamal, who is in the bathtub with Messi when he was a baby in Barcelona.
Oh, that was a great picture, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there's all these ties, and then I think, I think there are also some things that happen that we sort of expected might not be great, like President Trump making himself part of the Spain team just because he has to be the center of everything, and Iran having issues, and certain fans having visa issues because we've made it harder for people to come to this country.
Well, also you left out Trump
us.
trying to fix the game against
and Trump
Belgium.
trying to fix the game against Belgium. Yes,
we have the photograph.
Yeah, we have the picture of Trump.
If people haven't been following this, there is a Trump in the official photos from Spain and elsewhere. He's been airbrushed out of the photograph of the winning team. That is the White. Well, let's go back to the first one. That's the White House photo, I believe, where Trump. Essentially, I guess he played with Spain. I wasn't aware that he was suited up. But he would not leave the stage, even though the head of FIFA, who is about the most sycophantic man on the planet, grabbed him by the arm and tried to get him out of the picture. But the official picture from Spain, let's move to that one there, Trump disappeared as he should. And that was the end of that. That
I mean,
was
Jim,
just,
doesn't that just sort of encapsulate, like, it's in a nutshell what we deal with every day here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perfect way.
That's
the perfect way to look at the World Cup, right? Like when you actually talk to the citizens in the cities of the United States, we're pretty nice, normal people. And then you see what happens with the president. Like, it's the perfect dichotomy of like what goes on in our country. It's like we're one thing and he's another. And if you can separate those two, you can see the difference.
By the way, not only is Trenni in Wisconsin, in the middle of nowhere, in Townsend or something, she is drinking out of a Green Bay Packers mug, as you can see.
I did that on purpose.
Let me tell you what I fear, because while I'm not a big soccer fan, I think people know that, I do hope it catches on here eventually. I thought the final game was maybe the most one-sided sporting event I've ever seen in my life. And the only reason it kept one's attention is because as one-sided as it was scoreless. So my prediction, which turned out to be wrong, is the team that couldn't even get one shot on goal to the final minutes was going to get one shot, and that was going to be the winning goal. And it turned out it wasn't. Do you think that final game was a good sort of ad for soccer in this country that is soccer deprived, or no?
No, I don't think it was, because I think the biggest complaint that people have here about soccer is that it's slow, that there's not a lot of action, there's not a lot of scoring. And listen, there were 1-0 or 1-1 games, 2-1 games throughout the World Cup that were exciting, where you had great offensive opportunities. And you just had really good goaltending or really good, like the England, was it England, Spain?
Well, how about the Cape Verde game? Wasn't that 0-0 till late, or am I getting games wrong?
Yes,
Whatever.
Cape Verde was late. Cape Verde was a late one. I mean, Argentina, and now you can argue about whether or not they had if they were favored to maybe have these extra chances to win. But Argentina often scored late in games. I mean, think about the comeback they had against France. So yeah, it was England-Spain that played each other. Like that was a game where it was only 2-1, I think, in favor of Spain, or maybe it ended up being 3-1, but it was a tightly contested match. France-Argentina, also same. It was tightly contested, and you thought France was going to run away with it until Argentina came back late. Like those to me were better.
Argentina didn't play France. It was it Egypt?
Yeah.
No. Spain.
Yes, they did. Argentina had to play.
No, Spain beat France. Whatever it is. It was Spain beat France, but it was a close game where several of them where Argentina scored at the end. But the good news is, even if we're both right and it's not the best representation, isn't the Women's World Cup like next year or the following year or something?
It is.
South America? Well, that's good news, yes?
Yes. I mean, listen, anything you can do, and you are right. It was Argentina, England, and Spain, France in the semifinals. I had it mixed up. It's a real long tournament. So yes, I think it is good, Jim, because like if you're going to keep growing soccer, to have like major sport like soccer events year in and year out, because then after that happens, then you're starting to get into like the Copa Americas and whatnot to qualify for the next Men's World Cup. So like if you can somehow find a way to link all those together. But I think really it's going to come down to like, what do kids play and what are kids interested in? And I think if the more kids who play soccer and choose soccer as they get older over American football, That's what's going to turn the tide here.
You know, my
because people
favorite
here are
thing
still too entrenched in American football.
And the American women are much better, comparatively speaking, than the American men. So that'll be.
But they
but
did. They had a crummy last World Cup, though. So
I know.
this is a big. They haven't even qualified for this World Cup yet. So they have a lot to prove this time around.
You know what's beautiful? If you're watching the game, the last thing I want to say about this, and we all did, like, what is it, midnight or whatever it is in Spain, and you see both when the goal is scored and when the game is over, they flash to Madrid and other smaller
Barcelona.
cities.
People
are ecstatic. It was just tens of thousands of people in the streets. It was really...
Yeah, a lot of them jumping up and down.
It was
great.
really beautiful.
So,
we're talking to Trenni Casey, who is in Wisconsin.
So the Red Sox were off to a dismal start. I think they were last place or something, and now they're on this tear. What are they going to... If they have a doubleheader today...
If they win both games today, it's the longest winning streak in the history of the team. Right?
16 games. If they win both games today, they will be on a 16-game winning streak. They are the hottest team in baseball, and they are doing it, guys, without their best players. Yeah. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Garrett Crochet, Trevor Story, they're all on the IL right now. And what's interesting to me, guys, is that you'll hear, and if you don't follow the team really closely, you probably wouldn't pick up on this, but I noticed the other day that Aroldis Chapman and Masataka Yoshida were talking about why they've been able to have this surge. And they're talking about the young players, the unheralded guys, the guys who came up from AAA, how hard they work, how much they care. And that's sort of, in my interpretation, that is a slight on guys like Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell, who hasn't even been called up yet from AAA again because he's been so bad. Those are three players that this team, that the Red Sox really invested in, and they're winning without them. So I am curious, can these young players who are sort of playing out of their shoes right now, can it continue? But it certainly has changed the trajectory of the season. I thought this was a team that was going to sell every good player on their team and just start over again. And I think now they might try to make some big moves at the deadline and try to make a run. You just never know. The American League is pretty down this year. And so they may try and make a run.
Do you think all of your colleagues in sports radio are still saying that John Henry should sell the team? Or I would bet they're not, right?
But it's like, I don't necessarily don't necessarily think he's doing a good job, Jim. Like, the way that they're winning is because their best players are sidelined and the young guys are trying to play to prove something. They haven't invested in this team. It's not like they went out and signed all these great players and John Henry invested in winning in this team. Well, they're winning. They're getting lucky that these guys are like exceeding expectations. Like, let's not get carried away here that John Henry has put together this, and Craig Breslow have put together this phenomenal team. I think Chad Tracy is the one who deserves the most credit because he's managed to get something. Yeah, he's the interim manager. He's managed to get these guys to care again and play for the team.
Okay, I want to talk about the 91-year-old on the Appalachian Trail.
Dale
Graybeard Sanders. He's out on the 2,190-mile Appalachian Trail, and he's 91. I mean, what's the deal?
So the deal is, Marjorie, he's trying to once again set the record for oldest person ever to through hike the Appalachian Trail. So he set this record once before as an 82 or an 84-year-old.
Yeah, 82-year-old.
An 82-year-old. And then an 84-year-old snatched that record from his grasp. And so he's like, you know what? I feel good. I'm going to try and do it again. So he has to finish it within 365 days. And now most people, if you through hike, one, you're younger. Two, you usually start in the south and then go north to Maine. And you start like in the spring, late winter, early spring, and you start down in Georgia and then finish in Maine in like late summer. But that is not a requirement to through hike it. You just have to hike every section of the Appalachian Trail within a calendar year of 365 days. So he's sort of breaking it up into these different pieces so that he can make sure like the weather cooperates. He has the best, he has the best conditions to hike in, but he's hiking like 12 or 13 miles a day at 91 years old.
12 or 13 miles a day. It's just unbelievable.
He's 91.
I know, and it said in the story that he marked his 80th birthday by becoming the oldest person to paddle the full length of the Mississippi River. I mean, what a great story.
I just love these stories, Marjorie, because I think a lot of times when you get older, you just automatically, there's something in your brain that says, well, I can't do this anymore because I'm X age, or my parents didn't do this, so why should I be able to do this? And then people like Graybeard, show you that if you want to do something, and if you take good care of yourself and you make your health a priority, you can live a long, full life. I love this guy so much. I want to be 91 and hiking. Maybe the PCT though. Appalachian's really hard too. I think you don't have the same altitude as you do on the Pacific Crest Trail, which is the other big through hike that you hike from California up to Washington State. But it's like more of like a true trail. I don't know if you guys have done a lot of hiking in the Appalachians, like in New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine, but it is treacherous. It's like basically like just climbing nature's rocky stairs, like mile after mile after mile.
By the way, let me just say, I hope people don't think we're trying to be disparaging, calling this old guy Graybeard. That's his own selected
that's his trail name.
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
his
a through
name.
hiker, you pick your own name. And one of the beautiful parts of the story, which is in the New York Times, by the way, people should read it July 14th. One of the beautiful parts of this story is one of his teammates, for lack of a better expression, who meets him after the day's hiking so that he has a place to stay and eat and whatever, is the guy who beat his record. Broke his record at 82. Marjorie said this morning, I hope it's okay to say this, she was hoping that if I made it to 91, I'd be able to walk all the way from the Lenox Hotel to the studio. And that's my goal.
Yeah, that's across the street.
That is my goal.
Real quick, because we're running out of time here, but Tom Brady is thinking about
Don't even dignify. This is so low. Go ahead. It's so low rent.
He's going into
so
wrestling?
low rent.
World wrestling?
To make a buck.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just another way for Tom Brady to make more money. Like, has there ever been a sadder midlife crisis?
I'm with you, by the way. Generally, I don't care what people do if they're not hurting somebody else, but this is an embarrassment.
Do we have the picture of him slapping the other guy, that Logan Paul?
Right? It's not, while they are true athletes, I mean, it does take a lot of like physical skill to wrestle. They're all storylines. It's basically like a sports soap opera.
Yeah.
So think of like Stefano possessing Marlena. Like that was a Days of Our Lives reference for those of you who watched Days of Our Lives in the 90s.
One of us didn't know that. Yeah.
Marjorie, I hope you got it.
Belatedly.
So, like that's what this is. This is just a storyline.
Well, also, by the way, to continue the storyline, Logan Paul and Brady gave each other the finger at the World Cup.
Yes, at the World Cup.
I mean, it's so puerile.
It's childish
and just ridiculous.
But Jim, you would be shocked. The number of guys in my office who are obsessed with WWE and the people that I know who spend hundreds of dollars going to these events at the Garden and WrestleMania. And I was into it as a middle schooler.
Okay, well, I guess Tom Brady is getting into it too. Thank you very much.
Have fun in Wisconsin.
Have a great vacation.
Great to
see you soon. We've been speaking with Trenni Casey, anchor reporter for NBC Sports Boston. Gorgeous.
Really pretty.
And a BPR contributor. Coming up after the quick break, zooming in from the National NAACP Convention in Chicago, it's Michael Curry. He's going to tell us what's going on there. He's going to tell us give us his review of the Obama Presidential Center Museum, and also the news on a young man, an 18-year-old black football star who mysteriously drowned during a trip with a bunch of white friends, and the autopsy has just come out. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browder. This is BPR, GBH, and NAPM live from the Boston Public Library.
I'm Henry Santoro. Today on The Culture Show, Boston's World Cup party spilled from the stadium into its pubs. We'll ask bar owners what the city can learn from the Tartan Army and the late-night crowds that transformed Boston. Then another local institution marks a milestone. Regina Pizzeria is celebrating 100 years. Corporate chef Mark Murphy joins us to talk crust, tradition, and a century of Boston loyalty. That and more is on The Culture Show today at 2 on 89.7 GBH.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And Commonwealth Shakespeare Company, presenting A Midsummer Night's Dream. This summer's free Shakespeare on the Boston Common. Shakespeare's classic comedy is transported to a neon-lit festival escape, July 22nd through August 9th. comshakes.org. And Subaru of New England. The all-wheel drive 2026 Subaru Forester is committed to keeping loved ones safe on adventures this summer. Subaru retailer locations at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Welcome back to BPR and GBH and NEPM. Marjorie Egan, Jim Browdy. We're live at the library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. A week from today, from 11 till noon, Governor Healy will be with us at the library for Ask the Governor, obviously. August 11th, the Attorney General, Andrea Joy Campbell, will join us at the library for Ask the AG. Joined on Zoom by Michael Curry. Michael, of course, is the CEO of the Mass League of Community Health Centers. He's on the board of the National NAACP. He's joining us from the National NAACP Convention in Chicago this year. Michael, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be with you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Michael, we want to get to the convention and Medicaid and this bunch of other stuff in a second. But first, tell us about the latest on Nolan Wells. He was the 18-year-old young man, a football star in college, who went on a boat trip with a bunch of white friends July 4th and disappeared. You sent us pictures of this private autopsy that came out. What do we know?
Yeah, so just about an hour and a half ago, we had a press conference and a meeting with the Wells family, the parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, and Attorney Ben Crump, and the leadership of the NAACP. So we had a chance to have the attorney, Ben Crump, walk through the second autopsy and what they found in that second autopsy. I think there were many things I would share, and I shared some of the data with you, information with you both while I was in the press conference. One of the things that struck me the most in that entire press conference, and I would put this to the two of you and your listeners, in this case or any of the other cases that involve a single black boy or young man with a group of white friends and they die under mysterious circumstances, and the other friends appear to cover up the evidence, right? Phone missing, they remove clothes, whatever those things are in like 3 or 4 cases. The thing that struck me most was Ben Crump when he said, in any of these cases, if this was a group of black boys hanging with a white boy, and at any point, if that black boy died, he drowned mysteriously, they left him on an island, they didn't report, or any of those things that happened, I don't think any of your listeners, no matter what their politics are, doubt that they would be arrested immediately.
Yeah.
That they would have been prosecuted immediately. So when Ben Crump said to us today, reminiscent of Emmett Till, why does justice keep evading the death of black boys? I could see the crowd, the audience that was listening, being moved by that, because the reality is in local law enforcement, federal, local, the question becomes, do Black lives matter? Because when black boys die under mysterious circumstances, it's an accident. It was a game. It was a mistake. And those young people that were around him that day don't appear to be getting the heightened level of scrutiny they should be over what happened regarding his death. And just so that people are clear here, this is an independent autopsy, the bulk of which, from what I understand, was paid for by Colin Kaepernick. The funeral expenses were paid by Tyler Perry, so this is not a family of means. The thing by the way, Ben Crump has changed the world. He is really, in the last couple of decades, one of the most important civil rights champions on the planet. But what I don't understand is, why is the official autopsy of Nolan Wells still not available to the public? And it's now been 18 days. Well, he wasn't found the same day that he disappeared, but it's been more than 2 weeks. Why isn't that public? Do we know, Michael Curry? Well, they say that they're still in the process of the investigation. And that they're still looking at the evidence. And just to tell you what it was like to sit in that room today with the press conference, they walked through the fact that they dissected his body under the first autopsy. And part of what made the second autopsy difficult is that parts of the body are missing. His throat, meaning right? That they were not passed over to the second autopsy. So his throat area is missing. And there appears to be, they may have held it because they believe that there's something there, but it makes it difficult for the second autopsy to happen if there's holding out some of that, of his parts. Secondly, what I thought was interesting is they revealed that there was some contusion or bruise on the back of his head that the second autopsy revealed that it didn't appear the first autopsy caught, because they didn't do that level of investigation. So I think one is the first forensic team is probably waiting to see what is found in this second autopsy. But I'm just disturbed. I think ultimately we need the truth. We need transparency. This family, I think any of us who parents, and again, I want to take this out of politics or the racial divisions that exist in this country. If this was your child who died under mysterious circumstances and none of it seems to add up and make sense, what would you do? That's the question for all of us.
Well, the thing is, too, that there was some reporting on this young man, Nolan Wells, getting into a little spat, or maybe a big spat, with one of the guys on the boat with him. Give me back your phone, give me back your phone. And as the parents have said repeatedly, what 18-year-old goes someplace without their phone? So that was a weird thing, too, that the phone winds up at a friend's house. And there's some speculation that there was some tampering with the phone.
That the phone, well, some of the history is wiped from the phone.
Deleted.
Yes.
Deleted.
So the whole thing, and I'm wondering, aren't these young men, shouldn't they be at the police station at least for hours getting questioned, or, get their lawyers if they want, but it doesn't seem like that's happening.
And again, think about the Central Park Five or the Exonerated Five. Yeah. Think about the many cases across the country where if you're a suspect, you get put in a room and they grill you with questions. But there's a lot of open questions in this around why, how did he drown? Did they find water or, bruises to this young man? Why did they leave him? What was on his phone? Like, there's a whole bunch of questions that are unanswered. And quite frankly, the family doesn't. This is the thing about law enforcement that sometimes bothers me, because it becomes adversarial when you get a lawyer for the family and now there's the police department, is that they stop communicating in a way that's compassionate and empathetic for the family. I need to call you and say, hey, let me just give an update. We're still working on it. Trust me, we got it. We're looking into it. That seems to break down across the country, and it disturbs me.
So, Michael, before we leave the convention, first of all, there are two things about Chicago. One, is there a theme? What's the major work of the convention? I'm sure people remember it was not too long ago. The convention was here in Boston, in great part thanks to your advocacy for it to come here. What is the basic business of this particular convention?
So we come together every year and we take up resolutions and policy, and it's sort of like the boot camp for policy. So folks from across the country come and they're in sessions nonstop on voting rights and what happened in the Calais decision with the Supreme Court, what's happening around local voting rights. The theme for this year is We the People, which is interesting. We think about 250 years of this nation and American independence. In 1775, Jim, there were 2.1 million colonists in the 13 colonies. 500,000 of them were black. 90% of them were enslaved. Think about that. 2.1 million. When Patrick Henry put up his hand in 1775 at the convention and said, give me liberty or give me death. And yet a sizable population at that time were enslaved. In fact, a slave owner could send his slave to go fight in the American Revolution in his stead. Like, this is the American history that I think we're taking up and discussing. One more interesting fact for your listeners. In 1775, 1776, the American Revolution, at least 15,000 to 20,000 black enslaved folks fought for the British.
Oh, my goodness.
The notion that I'm fighting not against taxation without representation. I'm fighting against chattel slavery and me being owned by another human being. Like, this is why we come together. We come together to discuss policy, history, to ground us in the battle, so we go back into our local communities. We know what to do, how to do it, and how to fight. That we the people are not just words; they're actions for all of us.
Michael, I know you visited the Obama Presidential Center and Museum, and if you can just give us a brief fix, and next time you're on, we'll go in more depth, because we also want to talk about this Medicaid nightmare. Yeah. So, what was it like?
Emotional. When first you walk up to the building, it's a huge, magnificent facility. As the Obamas standing outside with their hands in the air, holding each other in a statue. You go inside, it's 8 floors. We took our time. Me and my fiance walked floor by floor, exhibit by exhibit. There's one room you walk into that basically it goes up several stories, and it's videos showing all around you with different conversations. I even heard Senator Warren. I had to text her and say, hey, I heard you at the museum. It's a beautiful experience. And one thing I'll take from it, and when both of you go, is the aspirational nature of it about democracy in America. It wasn't vitriol. It wasn't meanness. It wasn't all that stuff that we're immersed in now. It was about how we as a people have overcome, have tried to perfect democracy, and I think you'll find that to be true when you go through the museum.
I want to hear more about it. We'll do it. We do want to talk about Medicaid because you pointed out to us next week's 61st anniversary. Here is President Johnson speaking at the 1965 signing ceremony for the Medicare and Medicaid Act.
It was a generation ago that Harry Truman said, and I quote him, "Millions of our citizens do not now have a full measure of opportunity to achieve and to enjoy good health. And the time has now arrived for action to help them get that protection." Well, today, Mr. President, and my fellow Americans, we're taking such action.
20 years later, he goes on to say, so we know about the work requirement in the Big Beautiful Bill Act. And that was bad enough. And then I believe in the last month, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid, or Medicaid and Medicare, I always get it backwards, is proposing some rules that are not yet official that essentially require people like those who work in your community health centers to adjudicate that even if you're frail and sick, which would ordinarily exempt them from this work requirement, which is going to cause hundreds of thousands of people in Massachusetts to lose Medicaid coverage, millions across the country. They want to make it, the Trump administration, even more difficult by having the people who work for you have to certify that as frail and sick as an individual may be, they have to do some further examination to see, despite those conditions, if they could still work. What kind of burden is that for the people who serve, the million people who you serve?
Yeah, one is, and I'm recalling a line from the movie Malcolm X. It's a line from Malcolm X where he said, "You've been boozled, you've been hoodwinked."
Yeah.
So the reality is people, if you voted for a policy that was the one big beautiful bill, and you are a rural person or on Medicaid, or a MAGA person on Medicaid, or a Republican or a Democrat or independent, the reality is millions of folks will lose their coverage. And not only will you lose coverage, 300,000 here in Massachusetts, but when you lose coverage, you're churning, right? You have insurance, you have a job, maybe you don't have a job, you have Medicaid. Now the Medicaid requirements require work requirements. Now, I want to underscore this. Most people with Medicaid work, either full-time, part-time, they volunteer, they're not working for a reason. And yet this policy goes into place. To your question, Jim, this puts an unnecessary burden on providers to say, if you come in and you have cancer, and now because I'm in this position with the CMS rules of figuring out medical frailty, I have to attest that you can't work because of your prostate cancer, your breast cancer, when in fact, that's a hard thing to determine because you know your pain. You know whether it's debilitating. You understand whether that chemotherapy, that radiation, that condition is making it impossible for you to show up on your job and do your job. But this is putting the burden. Now, I want to remind people that the ultimate goal is to create administrative burdens so that millions of people fall off Medicaid. That is the goal. And that's what's going to happen. Georgia is a great example where many people are eligible for Medicaid, but yet many of them don't get Medicaid, not because they're not eligible, but because they don't cross the gauntlet of administrative burden to be authorized to get Medicaid.
By the way, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because those who say, well, what's the big deal? You just do certification. The higher the threshold is, the more burdensome it is for an individual who's having a pretty tough time with their health, and I'm assuming their finances too, the less likely it is that they even attempt to get the benefit to which they are entitled.
These stories talk about how the costs are being handed down to the states. That it's going to cost millions and millions of dollars for states to have to go out and hire people to do this certification. They talked about Pennsylvania is going to have to hire 400 more people to do this, and it's going to be they're just passing the buck.
Right. We should also say on the plus side, let me just say, Andrea Joy Campbell has joined, I think, 25 other AGs around the country, and they're suing to try to stop this rule. But I interrupted you, Michael. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to tell you, I'm at this conference, and I'm here with some of the top lawyers in civil rights, social justice in the country, and they are crediting our Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, for her leadership. People are excited that we are in Massachusetts with an Attorney General, with a governor, with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kyame Mahoney, and others who are fighting for what is right, and the rest of the nation is watching, right? They're signing on to the litigation against the federal government, but they're also watching to see if we do the right thing in Massachusetts by way of the health safety net, by the way of immigrant patients, by the way of LGBTQ communities and gender affirming care, by the way of harm reduction. I need us in Massachusetts to understand that in this dark time, we are the light at the end of the tunnel, and we have to accept that burden as a state.
You know, everybody who listens to you on the show only knows you as a very serious person. We know you a little bit better, and you allow fun to be part of your life. What percentage of your time at the convention in Chicago is hard work, and what percentage is fun? Tell the truth.
It's funny you say that. 90% is hard work and 10% is fun. Last night I hosted a reception with the Connecticut NAACP, and we had a DJ, a popular DJ here. And me and Julie danced right up until the time they turned the lights on and had a great time.
By the way, Julie is one spectacular woman.
Thank you,
we
Michael.
got to meet her at a health center event.
Yeah,
Michael,
thank you
good
so
to
much.
see you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you both.
We've been speaking with Michael Curry, CEO of the Mass League of Community Health Centers, board of the National NAACP. We say goodbye to those of you listening on any PM. Tune into the fabulous 413 at 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to keep going here in Boston. Juliette Kayyem, our national security expert, is going to join us on the war, the DHS chief threatening to arrest election officials and jail them. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. We'll be right back.
Make a lasting impact by joining GBH's Champion Circle today. Champion Circle gifts are an integral part of strengthening our community by helping ensure a GBH for all. Learn more at gbh.org/championcircle.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And the Peabody Essex Museum, Salem's destination for authentic witch city lore and witch trials history since 1799. Ticket information and more at PEM.org. And the Cape Playhouse in Dennis Village, now playing Hairspray, the Tony Award winner for Best Musical, a joyful romp through the early 60s based on John Waters' iconic film. Tickets for Hairspray at capeplayhouse.com.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
Welcome to hour number 2 of Boston Public Radio, 89.7 GBH. Jim Browdy and Marjorie Egan. We are broadcasting live from the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. We're going to be back here on Friday. The governor's going to be with us on July 29th from 11 to 12 here at the library. And the Attorney General that Michael Curry just spoke about, and Joy Campbell, will be here with us August 11th, also at the Boston Public Library. Hello again,
I want to
Jim.
promote one thing that's coming up tomorrow also. We're going to be joined by Mary Moriarty, who is the county attorney in Hennepin County, and I think that's where Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed. And I think you know, until a few days ago, the federal government refused to share any evidence with local prosecutors with Ms. Moriarty so they could investigate whether criminal charges should be brought by anybody who was involved in these killings. And finally, some evidence was turned over to her last week. She will join us on Zoom tomorrow, and we're really looking forward to talking to her. Joined now live at the library desk by Juliette Kayyem. Juliette's former Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security under Barack Obama, Faculty Chair of the Homeland Security Program at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, and CNN's Senior National Security Analyst, and has a new Substack, which is terrific, called Early Warning with Juliette Kayyem, earlywarningwithjuliette.substack.com. Hello, Juliette Kayyem.
Hello,
nice
everyone. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So, people may have seen Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on the hot seat yesterday. We have a little sound from yesterday's hearing about the war in Iran. Here's Senator John Ossoff. He's a Democrat from Georgia, grilling Hegseth over whether the United States military secured a quote-unquote overwhelming victory in Iran, as Hegseth had said back in April.
And you stated we had, quote, achieved every single objective. Were those accurate statements?
It certainly was, on behalf of the men and women in uniform, a historic military victory over Iran.
Had Iran's military been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come? That was a statement that you made 4 months ago.
They had 160 naval vessels
you need
in
to
the
answer
Blue
the
Water
questions,
Navy,
Mr.
and they're gone.
Secretary.
Their Air Force
you
is
said 4 months
completely
ago.
combat ineffective.
And by the way, when Hegseth at some point couldn't answer any of the questions from Ossoff or the others, he resorted to, you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, because he couldn't answer
But it wasn't
anything.
just Democrats who were upset. There were some Republicans who were upset yesterday, too, about the war in Iran. So where are we, Juliette?
We lost the war. I mean, I think that's what I wrote about, and it's just going to take, who knows when Trump's going to realize it. There is no good options left. And there's just, we're at a fork in the road of how bad we're going to lose and how many people are going to be hurt and killed on the way, including our service members. But it has become, and the reason why I said this and why I wrote about it was all this talking about what we're doing and what's next and whether, we're going to ratchet it up or the ceasefire is come and gone or whatever. Is proof that we've lost, because the theory of the case, the theory of the war was we would go in quickly and Iran would fall and peace and light would go over the Middle East and then we'd exit. That theory is over. We are at 5 months now. So any narrative about this war, however it ends, however we finally realize and see the writing on the wall, it's already sealed because Iran controlled the clock and they had a greater incentive to make this last and hurt more than the United States did. And how we, you can say, oh, they're horrible and blah, blah, blah. How we didn't know that, how we didn't know that that was going to be the strategy is on our president and Hegseth. He deserves every second he got there. He couldn't answer basic questions. He didn't just do the Trump derangement. He did they have Biden derangement syndrome. And I don't know why the senators don't push that back. He kept going back to Biden.
Like 20 times
right.
or something.
And then, they want to get out of the fact that this was a war of choice, a mistaken war of choice by Trump. They say, well, Iran started the war 50, however many years. In 1979, you're like, okay, if we're going to go that far back, you're in search of a justification.
One of the things, I don't want to get lost in the weeds here, but he's asking for 80-some billion more. We allegedly have spent $38 billion, which, by the way, does not include fixing the damage to our facilities throughout the Middle East. So I'm sure the number is much higher. If they just got, what was it, $1 trillion in the defense budget, a record, and they've only spent $37 billion, why does he need to come begging back to Congress for $87 billion more?
That's Pentagon math. I mean, that's what everyone's saying. What is going on here? You're either lying to us about the damages, which I think is the case, and in particular in our
that's
bases.
why they need so much more money.
Yeah, because this isn't weaponry. This is real estate, and we're starting to see. We had 100 service members harmed over the weekend. The Pentagon at first doesn't admit it. Then it says, 98% of them are already out, as if that's a justification for what is actually happening at our bases. What we do know with our allies, our Gulf allies, is they are starting to pull us back from use of those bases, and they are vulnerable. We have most of the service members we have been lost on Gulf-based bases. How we're putting our soldiers at risk like that without adequate defense is, to quote one of the senators, Hegseth is really bad at his job, and just to watch him. And to watch our service members and to see the gap between their expertise, their professionalism, their commitment to the United States and this totally unqualified, slightly unhinged.
Well, he works for a totally unqualified, unnamed president of the United States. So, like, boss.
And this one potentially has. Sorry,
can I repeat something I said yesterday too? Up until about a week ago, we mistakenly you and I fell prey to the, well, could he ever get a deal that was any better than what Obama got? And what we didn't say at the end of the sentence is, I mean, not only will he not get a better deal, Obama got the deal without 17 Americans, or maybe 18,
however many
being killed, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds being injured, and not 100 and some little girls in Iran killed in the girls' school.
Which we have not still seen.
I know.
And so that's why the Iranians have time. I mean, in other words, we're not feeling it like they do. But to your point is, in terms of how do I know? I don't know why we're busy chatting away anymore. This war is lost. Is also the Pentagon's silence now. I have a line in the piece that's just like, if you're winning the war, you're going to be chatty about it. And Hegseth, unless hauled into Congress, he hasn't had a press conference in 2 months. We have no valid way to assess who's been harmed, and you see Pentagon reporters sort of pushing the Pentagon like, I'm hearing that 100 people were injured. Why aren't you reporting that?
And they're also talking about minor concussions. Haven't we learned anything in the last 40 years?
Marjorie.
You can't go back to work 2 days after you have a minor concussion, or you're going to wind up with some of these guys.
Also, why do we believe that it's a minor concussion?
Thank you. That's exactly. And I think your point, or what you were talking about last week, is this moving of the goalpost of how we're going to judge success is playing to their narrative, to the White House's narrative. If you just take a step back, this thing is over. I mean, we have lost it. There's going to be a lot of damage. He may ratchet it up. He's threatening WMD, whatever. There's no way we can win this narrative, even if we destroy Iran.
So today,
and the narrative is we had peace without nuclear weapons.
Well, speaking of nuclear weapons, apparently the president, that is Trump, has reached a deal with the Saudis, allowing them to enrich nuclear fuel. What do we think of this?
Well, this is part of the no strategy. So at the same time that we're saying that the Middle East, that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons and we're going to go to war for it, we're going to give Saudi Arabia, Iran's nemesis, longtime enemy, capabilities that they didn't have before. So now can we think of the next day? How is Iran going to actually respond to this?
More incentive for them to build a nuclear weapon, a rebuild.
And part of this is all the dealings going on with Jared and Trump and all with the Trump organization in terms of commercial benefits out of Saudi Arabia. One wonders, I can't prove it, one wonders, as we've seen in other cases, to what extent that deal was preconditioned on a change of our national security policy, as we saw with the semiconductors. We are selling our national security priorities to whatever Trump organization can get.
Well, by the way, everything is about money. I mean, there's a wonderful piece by David Sanger in the New York Times about this that talks about Biden, obviously before the war with Iran, is having the same discussion with Saudi Arabia, and part of the deal would be, whether you're crazy about Netanyahu now or you're not, and you shouldn't be, is part of the deal was, we'll allow you to do something. One, there'll be inspections, and two, there'll be diplomatic recognition of Israel. Trump apparently has agreed that as long as they invest in the United States, we will limit inspections of their nuclear facilities. So we essentially have no way to know if they're enriching this uranium to the point where they can build a bomb.
And they're all saying they're going to invest in the United States, and it turns out
that they
don't.
That's what he said something about the Gulf. He was angry with the Gulf states, and then he said, well, they called me and said that they were going to invest in the United States. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean in Trump? Well, or it means in the Trump organization. I mean, we have no idea what it means.
It may not be in our country. It may be in his family, right?
This is Okay. Keep your eyes on the corruption.
Hey, by the way, we're not talking about. I mean, you and I don't have to worry very much about the cost of groceries. You make a good living and the price of gas. Obviously, now that also the Houthis are blocking part of the Red Sea.
Yeah, the blockade.
The war is going to accelerate, which realistically means for the next few months, gas prices are going to continue to go up. Grocery prices continue to go up. Yeah. And so that's the price of war for people who are not unlucky enough to have somebody suffering in their family who's in the Middle East serving this country.
And the Houthis thing, I'm glad you mentioned, is really this is the thing where it's like Iran is a sophisticated country. Like we sort of thought, Trump sort of sells it as sort of barbarism. It's a sophisticated country that has managed to stay in power for many, many decades with obviously top researchers because they were able to build nuclear capabilities. So the Houthis play is really interesting because I actually don't think it's real. My personal feeling is the Iranians have support the Houthis in Yemen. They said, hey, Houthis, you make this announcement about Saudi Arabia. Why did they do this, that you're not going to let any Saudi ships through, is to raise the gas prices for Trump. In other words, it's just the threat.
Alone.
There's been no, from what we can tell, there's been nothing. There's been nothing.
Okay.
And so they're in this narrative war, of which Iran is clearly winning, they are taking away, Trump's Sunday night ceasefire to get the markets back in order statements, because we all know that that's fake as well. So I think to the extent we haven't seen the market have we've seen the tick up of prices, but you haven't seen the disruptions that were anticipated early in the war. Those will now, I don't know for sure, but at least, people that I'm reading in the energy space, the Houthi play was really sophisticated.
Talking to Juliette Kayyem.
So the president says doesn't really care about the midterm elections, but he seems to be doing everything he can to sort of undermine them and telling the states what to do. We have a clip here from Secretary of Homeland Security Mark Wayne Mullen in a speech he gave last Friday, threatening state election officials with jail time if they don't do what Trump wants them to do about election policies. Here is Mark Wayne Mullen.
If the election officials, once we gave them the information they need to secure their elections, and they chose not to, then those individuals can also be held accountable by fines, by penalties, and even, depending on how far it goes, prison time.
Now, this can't happen.
It's just like setting up a stupid red herring to cater to the MAGA. What election official, first of all, what are they telling election officials? Exactly what election officials are doing. They have no proof of knowing, hiding, or disruption of the election system. All of that is coming from the White House, right? I mean, let's actually think about it. Since I saw you, Trump addressed the nation about China and 2020, is asked about it yesterday, says, China tried to, our elections are insecure because of China, is asked about China yesterday, if this is true, why aren't you doing anything about China? And he goes, oh, they've changed. It's like, really? Because you won?
Well, Xi is also coming to the White House next month or something.
It's just a ridiculous. Mullen is going to do that leading up to it. I'm not Pollyannish. I have my eyes, I see what's coming. I think that, they will do all sorts of things. I didn't get a sense that Thursday's night speech where Trump essentially, I was worried, tried to lay, grease the runway for some disruption of 2028 or 2026, later this year, that it did what it needed to do because it was so unconvincing. I mean, in other words...
Also, the Republicans aren't even talking about it the next day.
Fox
News the next morning didn't even mention it.
I know.
Well, that's because they didn't want to get fined.
Sued, you're
almost
right.
$1 billion.
But can I say something? But there's a flip side to this kind of thing. One of the people, I say this all the time, the person who speaks most reverentially about election poll workers always is John King.
Yeah.
He has such respect for people who volunteer their time to keep this democracy running, and I love him for it. But the reality is some people are going to be scared by this threat. Even if it's preposterous, which it is, that the federal government is going to charge you with a crime because you don't do what Trump wants, some people are going to say, I don't, especially in older, I don't want to get in the middle of this.
Look at the guy who's facing 10 years for touching of the paint in the pool.
Right, exactly. The Olympian, O'Hearn or whatever the hell his name
American
is.
Olympian faces 10 years in jail.
I think you're right. I mean, I think there's a tremendous amount of fear, and but, what I keep saying, to the extent I can is fear, how do I want to put this? He will do this. This is his style. It is not good. I am not forgiving it. And if people are in fear of what's about to happen, just remind yourself every day of his wild unpopularity in particular in this regard and on immigration. There are lots of people who are scared, lots of people who aren't coming to this country, lots of people who aren't reporting crimes in their communities because they're fearful of ICE coming to take them away or their children away. None of this is good, and it's worth bearing witness to it and saying it. But so long, I'd be more worried if this were popular.
But let me just say one last thing. We're not going to discuss this today, so you don't have to comment because we're going to do it with Andrew Cabral tomorrow.
Okay.
The nightmare that was announced yesterday in New Jersey, where the governor announced that thousands of people who were undocumented were able to register, even though they checked the box saying they're undocumented. So the problem was not, the system was the problem. It was not them. And then 400 of them apparently voted. We're going to discuss this tomorrow, but the bottom line is it adds fuel to Trump's BS claims through the years about how rigged these elections are. We're talking to Juliette Kayyem, and again, we'll do that tomorrow. Before you go, Air Force One from Qatar, it's being maxed out. What does that mean in English?
You'll never see it again. No, I said that
Explain
in CNN.
What's going on.
They took it out to get it upgraded because it should have never left the country. Donald Trump, and they pulled him off that plane to get him home from Qatar. Turkey, exactly. And now he's saying, now people are asking, well, where is it? You spent all this money, or they gave it as a gift, and then you spent gazillions of dollars upgrading it for it to be secure. And he says, well, it's getting ramped up or maxed out, like it's a convertible or pickup, We don't take bets on public radio.
You think we'll never see it again?
Jamie says it's going to be at the Presidential Library.
No, it is. No, he has said that.
Yeah. No,
he's taking it with him.
But we're never going to see it in the air again because it won't be ready because it's cost too much what they need to do. And the second thing, no future president will ever use that plane. Would you?
No.
No way.
Well, even if it was safe, I wouldn't use it.
I wonder if he'll even fly around within the United States in it. Do you think so?
No, I don't. We're not seeing. I'll admit error. If it in 3 months, let's put it on the calendar. Where is the airplane?
Where's the plane?
It is still being maxed out.
Okay, can I be as honest with you
makeover.
as I can possibly be? Because you're sort of a friend. I have a few more things to talk to you about. But there is sausage standing behind me, and I really can't wait any longer.
We're very excited about the sausage.
So this is the point at which we say thank you for your contribution to the show.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you soon.
Sorry to be the filler. I was the filler. Bye.
Juliette Kayyem is former Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security under President Barack Obama, Faculty Chair of Homeland Security Program at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, and CNN Senior National Security Analyst. Her new Substack, Early Warning with Juliette Kayyem. Early Warning with Juliette. Check it out. Here's where you look. Early Warning with Juliette.substack.com. Thanks to Juliette. Okay, as Jim said, we got sausage coming up here. We didn't get enough sausage talk or tube meat content into the show last week. We talked about hot dogs nonstop. So it is round 2. Best of the Worst. A sausage fest is going to take place in Cambridge this Saturday. We're going to talk with 2 local chefs and the king of mustard about the bratwurst bonanza. He's Jim Browdy. I'm Marjorie Egan. This is BPR 89.7 GBH, live from the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
I'm Edgar B. Herwick III. Today on the Curiosity Desk, have you ever been in the shower and had that classic aha moment? Well, it turns out there is a reason why we are most creative when we're practicing good hygiene. Plus, we have another round of Ask the Remodeler. That's the Curiosity Desk, today at 1 on GBH 89.7.
Support for our programs comes from you.
And Cambridge Trust, a division of Eastern Bank, dedicated to helping individuals and businesses pursue their financial goals with a full range of banking and wealth management services. Learn more at cambridgetrust.com. And Mass General Brigham Health Plan, providing coverage plans for individuals, families, employers, and retirees with benefits that help you live in your moment. More at massgeneralbrighamhealthplan.org.
Welcome back to BPR and 89.7 GBH. Marge Regan, Jim Browdy, live at the library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. Governor Healy is here for an hour next, what day is this? Wednesday? A week from today, she's here for an hour. And on August 11th, the Attorney General is here for an hour. This Saturday at the First Street Market in Cambridge, local chefs will gather for the second annual Best of the Wurst Festival, pairing chef-made sausages with award-winning mustards. So obviously, even though we dedicated 40 minutes of precious airtime the other day to the humble hot dog, we had to follow up with its relatives, which are sausages and mustard. Joining us live at the library desk are local chefs and restaurateurs. Steve Nookie Postal of Revival Cafe and Kitchen. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Jim. Thank you.
Will Gilson of Puritan and Amba, and a whole bunch of places. By the way, Amba, best dips and pita in the history of the world. And, no, they are. And Ken Zuckerman of the, see this right here? Can I have a close-up, please? Of the National Mustard Museum, all the way here. Whoop. From Wisconsin. Ken, it's nice to see you again. For info and tickets, search Best of the Wurst, WURST, on Eventbrite or Google. Welcome to all three of you guys. Good to see you.
I have like a mustard towel.
Whoa!
Oh, you did?
Yeah, look at that.
That's lovely.
That's pretty nice, too. So, Ken, how'd you become a mustard tycoon?
I love all things that are vinegary and fermented. So mustard is definitely in that wheelhouse.
Yeah, you went from arguing before the Supreme Court to...
No, it's not him. It's his boss.
That's the founder of the museum.
Oh, the founder.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. So you didn't argue in front of the Supreme Court.
We couldn't get him. Sorry.
Well, okay. Okay.
And wait a
I'm
second.
sorry
and
about
his
that.
boss had mustard packets in his
pocket.
Right? Is that what he's doing? He's arguing a case?
Close. He had a little jar of mustard when he
Close
was on from a food service tray when he was arguing before the Supreme Court. And then he won the case, and he took it as a sign from the Almighty that there was a future in mustard, and then he started the museum after
How many
that.
of the 7,000 mustards there have you tasted? Tell the truth.
I have probably only tasted 400 or 500.
That's disgraceful. Now, before we get to the chefs, what'd you bring me and Marjorie? What are these packets of extraordinary mustard you brought?
Well, Marjorie first.
Yeah.
She has a wonderful peach mustard that is in one of our pairings that we will have at the event. Yeah. It's not on your plate now. And then since we run the worldwide mustard competition at the museum with 18 categories of mustard, we do the grand championship judging at my office at Paul W. Marks, which is Fine Foods distributor. So a lot of chefs came in. Will and his whole team participated this year to help with the judging. That mustard there was our grand champion last year.
Isn't it beautiful?
She gets the champion?
What did I get? From Finland. You got some pretty good stuff there too, Jim.
What is it? What do I get?
So Jim, you have the gold. You have the yellow mustard gold medal champion from this year.
Oh, that's good.
Holding right there. And then, since I know you were eating a Pearl hot dog that Chef Daniel next door cooked at the Lennox Hotel, and who's cooking the 1,000 Pearl hot dogs,
That's
you have
true.
Pearl's mustard, which is
God.
very, very good for your next Pearl experience.
Okay, hello, Will Gilson. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So, what's this, you talked to us last year about this deal. What's the allure of this thing? You pay a set price, and you could stuff yourself with sausage and mustard and all those kind of things.
Is there anything more American than
no,
that?
Actually,
this is how we celebrate 250 over in Cambridge. You know?
And this is a family. I assume it's a huge family deal, right? Yes?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's the most fun about putting together an event like this is we just reach out to chefs and say, "Hey, are you available on this date?" And then B, the only rules you have is show up with enough sausage to feed 200 people, and then you can be as creative as you want, and then get your sausage to us so that Ken can pair it with a mustard, so that every single chef who puts out their sausage has a perfect pairing to go.
How do you feel about mustard? By the way, we'll talk to listeners about condiments after, and there was this survey of America's favorite condiments. Number one, which is not even a condiment, is peanut butter. I mean,
I didn't think that's
and mustard is at best in the middle. Are you a mustard
really are.
fan?
We're in a bad place as a country.
Are you a mustard guy or you're not?
I am definitely more of a mustard guy. Ketchup is my least favorite thing.
It should be. Are you a mustard guy? What's your deal?
I do enjoy some ketchup on my hot dog. Ketchup
and
mustard.
No, that's for little boys and girls.
Thanks for your time today. It's been great having you here.
No, I'm a big mustard guy. Big mustard guy.
You are.
Yeah, big mustard guy.
So, Nikki, how'd you get involved with this? We've talked to you before.
Yeah, Big Willie and I go way back, and he's like, best of the worst. I'm like, of course, definitely going to do it.
Yeah. So where? Give us the whole. This
is at our event space and indoor farmers market over in Cambridge called First Street Market. So it's right on First Street in the ground floor of the First Street parking garage, across from the Cambridge Side Galleria.
Perfect.
So we, when we're not hosting a farmers market in there, we host music shows, we host comedy shows. So it's a really great space just to let lots of different events happen in there. And this is perfect because 250 people can walk around in there, try everything. And again, this didn't, like you said, Jim, it's for families. I mean, it's $30 for the ticket. You get to try all the sausages you want. We'll have drink vendors there as well.
It's only $10 for kids.
$10 for kids.
Yes,
all
you very
can
much.
eat sausage.
Believe me, I actually think I'm coming this. I was out of town last night. What is that thing with a fork in there? What is that?
This is last year we called it the Abe Froman Award, if you remember from Ferris Bueller's Day.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So this is the golden sausage this year. So if you win the competition of Best of the Worst, you get the golden sausage. And so this is trophy that all the chefs are going to be competing for.
How many?
This might be as close as you get to it. But.
How many different sausages are there? It's like the World Cup for sausage,
right?
Yeah.
So, and it's definitely way more legitimate than the FIFA Peace Prize.
How many different sausages?
We're going to have 12 different sausages this year.
Yeah. Plus Frankston blankets, plus andouille sausage en croûte as well.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I've been waiting because I didn't eat because I was waiting for the
what's
sausage.
number
So
one?
can I have one of these?
Okay,
Nookie,
number one.
That's me.
What is it?
Yeah, it's a kimchi sausage. It's got a little toasted garlic, cilantro, little fish sauce, and it's paired with a. What did you pair this with?
So yours is paired with a raspberry wasabi mustard.
Okay.
So a little bit of fruit, a little bit of sweetness in that, and I think Nookie actually is a sausage genius because what he came up with is the perfect parallel to the mustard world. So kimchi is made with cabbage, I am assuming. Yep. Cabbage and mustard are in the same plant family, the cruciferous vegetable family, and the kimchi has vinegar in it, as mustard does as well.
I know Marjorie a little bit better than you do. She's such a fraud. We're talking this morning about condiments, and near the bottom of the condiments is fish sauce, which I love. Marjorie goes, ew. You just ate the fish sauce.
You can't
How
taste
was it,
it,
Marjorie?
thank goodness.
How was it?
I think it's disguised by other spices.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Thank you.
I think if it's just in there, like you would know if it's not in there, but you don't really taste it.
Yeah, it's a little tiny touch.
Nice try, Marjorie. What's number 2? Is that you?
So number 2 and number 3 are both from our restaurant.
Okay, let's hear it.
So number 2 is it's from our restaurant Geppetto. It is like a porchetta style. So if you think of porchetta, it's usually a pork belly with a loin inside. They rub it with tons of herbs and black pepper and fennel. This one has some chopped up local garlic scapes in it from the farmer's market. So just lots and lots and lots of great flavors in there. And then
what's the mustard with this thing?
The mustard. So what Will created is really classic Wisconsin, which is where the Mustard Museum is as well. I mean, Wisconsin is brats and Wisconsin is cheese. So he has both of them together. So I went with one of the greatest brat mustards.
What is it?
Produced in Wisconsin. It's called Ring Hands. It's phenomenal. And what Will created is fairly gentle in this sausage, so I didn't want to get in the way of the flavors that
What's in Ring Hand or whatever the hell
So
it
it's
is?
going to have a little bit of garlic in it, a little bit of horseradish in it, and it's going to have some spicy brown mustard seed as the 3 main ingredients.
You know what it needs? It needs fish sauce. That's the case. Okay, only kidding. What's number 3 there,
So
Will
number
Gilson?
3, this one is going to be probably the most adventurous sausage and pairing here.
Marjorie's eating it already.
She's in it. So it is essentially a bacon wrap scallop, but in a boudin blanc. So a boudin blanc is a French-style sausage where it's made with eggs and cream and usually with like veal or chicken in that sense. In this case, we used cod, scallops, and then we took the bacon and diced it into little pieces and folded it into it to make the sausage.
And what's the mustard on that thing?
So this one, I kind of went rumaki. So if you remember rumaki from the 70s and 80s, that was that water chestnut that was wrapped in bacon, which usually had like teriyaki kind of glaze on it. So again, this is probably the gentlest of Will's sausages at the event, so I didn't want to overpower it, so I went with the maple peppercorn to add just a little bit of spice to it and then to draw out the sweetness of the bacon.
Okay.
Can I say 2 things?
We went to Fenway Park the other night, and you told me the thing to get was the sausage with the... And I mean,
well, it's not like, obviously
that's
it's not.
like, it was like hard as a rock. I could hardly eat it. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is like...
She needed to have dental surgery the next day is what she's talking about. Right. So you said 12 different sausages?
12 different sausages.
And different mustard pairings with each of these things. Is that correct?
Yeah, right on the bottom there, Jim.
And it's your chance to meet a mustard expert.
Well, that is incredible. And so you Google Best of the Worst, WRST, for either Eventbrite or what's the other thing?
Or you can go to our website, which is First Street Market with market spelled MKT. And that is that'll help you get to tickets.
Can I tell you one thing? Not only does she not like fish sauce, she doesn't like fish, and she just ate the scallop whatever thing, and she was smiling.
It was delicious
through the whole thing.
Do we ask about the condiments?
Oh yeah, we should ask you this. What is it? We're going to go down the line quickly here because that's what we're going to ask our listeners. What's your favorite and least favorite condiment? If you say ketchup once, it's the last time you're ever on the show. What's your number one condiment?
I mean, I guess I like hot sauce. I would say
that counts.
Like
counts.
Like a green hot sauce.
And what's your least favorite?
I don't know.
Why are you looking at him? I'm talking to you.
Ketchup. I'm going to say ketchup.
No, you don't even believe that.
I'm with you.
That.
Thank you.
Okay, so mustard is obviously your favorite. You have to say that. What's your least favorite?
Least favorite is easy for me. Anything on the planet with cilantro in it.
Oh, I love cilantro.
Do you have a favorite mustard? Sausage. You probably can't.
Oh, I have lots of. Actually, the mustard that I first became a mustard enthusiast over when I was living in Chicago in 1982 was called Kosciuszko or Kosciuszko if you're a New Yorker.
Yeah.
And it is still in my refrigerator today, not the same jar. It is, in my opinion, one of the most perfect spicy brown mustards on the planet.
You speak with such authority. I love this. And what's your favorite and least favorite, Will Gilson?
I'm a favorite mayonnaise. So any variant of mayonnaise.
Is that true?
Would be,
I'm with you.
Okay, before you go, we only have 30
mayonnaise.
seconds. When's your, everything is Cambridge with you, luckily for me.
Yeah.
When's your Groton thing opening?
Oh, so we are opening up a casual version of our restaurant, Puritan & Company, in Groton, Massachusetts, the town where I'm from. Right in the center of town is going to be called Puritan Tavern. And,
when's it open?
We're looking for the second week of September.
Fabulous. Congratulations on the event, on the museum,
Thank
on your
you
stuff.
for a delicious
Even though you
lunch.
love ketchup, everything is great.
Jim and Marjorie?
Yes.
August 1st is National Mustard Day.
National Mustard Day.
So
my God.
Beautiful.
So there you
we
go.
could do a whole half hour
Thank you.
on mustard.
He gave me this. I mean, is this a lovely...
He's just going to be sleeping in the office.
Oh, my God. Is that beautiful?
Be here till then.
Congratulations. Saturday. Be there, everybody. What time is it? When to when?
12 to 2.
12 to 2. First Street in Cambridge.
Great for kids and families.
Great for kids and families. And adults, I would say. Yeah.
Right. Stephen Newkey, Postal, Will Gibson, and Ken Zuckerman, head of this weekend's Best of the Worst in Cambridge, 12 to 2 on Saturday.
These
Where is it
really
again?
Good.
Street Market.
Okay, what's the market?
First Street.
First Street Market, okay.
Yeah.
For info and tickets, go to Best of the Worst on Eventbrite or Google. Thank you both very much. Coming up after
There are
this break.
actually 3 of them, but I know what you mean.
All 3 of you, that's right.
Thank you.
I'm making a lot of mistakes this
No,
segment.
I'm not saying
I know I am, but it's okay.
Marjorie
I make a lot
ate
of
the
mistakes
whole
a lot.
scallop dog or whatever the hell it was.
Coming
you
up
don't
after
even
this
like
quick break,
scallops.
we are going to open the lines to get your thoughts on all
Fabulous.
things condiment, the perfect condiment pairings. Where do you store them? How do you determine how long a bottle of ketchup lasts? I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. Listen to BPR 89.7 GBH live from the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
This year, we're getting to know each of the 26 gateway cities in Massachusetts, calling it 26 and 26. I'm Trajan Warren, and if you're in Chelsea, Everett, Lowell, Barnstable, New Bedford, or Fall River, I want to hear from you. What issues matter most? What concerns do you have? What are you proud about in your neighborhood? Reach out to me. Visit gbhnews.org/gateway cities and fill out our questionnaire. That's gbhnews.org/gateway cities.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Modern Pest Services, providing integrated pest management for Boston homes and businesses. Modern Pest uses a prevention-first approach to seasonal pests to help target the source of the problem. Learn more at modernpest.com. And MIT Sloan Executive Education, helping professionals stay competitive with 2 to 3 day courses on AI essentials, strategic leadership, and more. Details at executive.mit.edu.
Welcome back to BPR on 89.7 GBH. Marge Regan, Jim Browdy, live at the library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. I'm not going to do the usual introduction because time is short. You know, we've been talking about hot dogs, sausages, and more importantly, about condiments. We want to know, as we ask the chefs and Ken, what are your favorite and least favorite condiments, number one. Number two, if you want to talk about storage, what of the condiments needs to go in the refrigerator? What can stay on the counter? It's sort of condiment public radio for the rest of today's show at 877-301-8970. What's your favorite condiment?
I'm with
Will,
yes,
mayo, right?
Yes, with Will Gibson.
You could put your head in a tub of mayo, correct?
I love mayonnaise. I can never get enough mayonnaise. I put mayonnaise on everything. It's probably not the best thing for you, but I love mayonnaise.
And your least favorite would be fish sauce until today.
Well, until today, but as I said before, there was a soupçon of fish sauce.
Soupçon, that's true.
In the mustard, and so if fish sauce, a regular fish sauce, it's too fishy. That's why I don't like it.
Exactly.
How about you?
My favorite is mustard, actually. I am a big
mustard man. Well, you got to go tomorrow then
and
check out all the different mustards. I have the world's best mustard right here, Jim.
That won the award last year,
you're not
apparently.
getting it. I'm not giving it to you.
And what is your rule of thumb, considering no one knows their way around the kitchen quite like you do?
That's right.
How do you decide? How do you decide which condiments to leave on the counter and which condiments to put in the refrigerator? Like, for example, do you put ketchup in the refrigerator?
I do.
You do?
I put almost everything
in
the refrigerator. I don't think you have to put soy sauce in the refrigerator, do you?
I don't.
Yeah, I put
Do you need to, do you think?
I don't know. The thing is about the condiments, you get overwhelmed by condiments. I mean, I open my refrigerator sometimes, I have like 25 different condiments, and they've been in there too long, and you have to go through.
What's too long? My youngest daughter is 32. Mm-hmm. I got the mayo that I used this morning on egg salad when she was 11. So... I mean, it's not. That is what it is. Until it's growing something, it's okay.
If you ever go down to your parents' house or your grandparents' house, it's always very dangerous. Look at those
2011.
Condiments. Yeah, 2011. We're talking about 1998 or something like that. It's a bad sign to go to older people's houses and check out the condiments.
Can we also, before we take the calls, and we got to move quickly here, so I should not do this. According to the survey from YouGov, this is ridiculous. Top-rated condiment, which is not a condiment. Peanut butter,
that's ridiculous.
Honey, then you get to the real...
honey is kind of a condiment.
It's not a condiment.
Do you like honey?
I like it very, very limited. Salsa is number 3. Barbecue sauce, which is not as surprising, is 4. As I said, mayonnaise is right in the middle.
For
Mustard
reference in French.
Thank you, Julianne. Mustard is a little bit lower, and hoisin sauce, which you probably never had in your life, which is spectacular, is the least favorite of the condiments in the United States of America. Is that fishy? No, it's not fishy at all. It's thick and Swedish, S-W-E-E-T-I-S-H. It's Asian.
According to this survey, 28% of us have no idea if the condiments in your home are past their printed expiration date. So it's not just your mom and dad or your grandparents that have that problem. Apparently, a lot of us do. Anyway,
here's Hannah. Here's Hannah, our colleague. I just opened a bottle of ketchup with an expiration date of December 25. I debated whether it was safe. AI said probably okay, tasted fine, but I'd never put it on a hot dog. Why would you not put it? Oh, you wouldn't put ketchup on a hot dog.
Yeah,
I understand.
December 2025 is nothing.
If
when you get down to the 1980s, you have to be a little concerned.
Okay, favorite, least favorite condiments. And if you want expertise from the two of us about how to store your condiments, Marjorie's your person. Joe, you're in Cranston. Hi, Joe. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, it's a little unknown condiment called sweet pepper relish.
Yeah.
It comes in a couple of different varieties. Cane's makes a decent one. But while we were on the conversation of mustard, I wanted to bring up this mustard that they make at Joe's Stone Crab in Miami.
Yeah.
I've never been able to find it anywhere else. It's amazing with the crab, and if anybody has a recipe, if they could post it online, that'd be great.
Can you order it online or no?
I don't think so. I don't think they sell it publicly. Joe's Stone Crab in Miami, they have a mustard sauce that you can dip your stone crab in.
I'm writing it right down.
Out of this world.
Hey, Joe, thank you for that. By the way, Maddie, our colleague in the back, Jim would hate to know, I do hate to know, I slather my hot dogs in ketchup. It gets worse. I layer ketchup along the bottom of the bun, add the dog, put more ketchup on top, then dip the whole thing into more ketchup. This is 100% true. How upsetting is that to you for an otherwise very fine person?
I don't like ketchup. You don't like ketchup
on it? You eat ketchup on fries and things like that?
No, I don't.
You don't? What do you? Oh, you eat
so
mayonnaise?
I used to use vinegar. That was a big thing.
You know
in
what's
Fall
great
River.
on
Vinegar
French
and
fries?
salt.
Spicy mayo.
Spicy mayo.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
okay.
thank you, Margie.
Now, here's one we hadn't thought of. Leah and Perrin's Worcestershire sauce on vegetables and especially baked potatoes. Worcestershire sauce, that's a good one.
I'm not a big, I like it in a recipe, but I'm not a big Worcestershire
AI, the steak sauce on meat, mayo, and sandwiches.
Jane in Concord, you're next. We're talking condiments, probably one of the more important discussions we've had. Hi.
Hi, guys. Definitely very important.
Well, thank you. What?
I did want to correct an error in your previous guest about kimchi containing vinegar.
Please.
I'm a big fan of sauerkraut and kimchi, but they're fermented and they use salt to ferment. There is no vinegar and they're not cooked.
Oh, good for you. That's fabulous. We appreciate your...
So,
what's your favorite condiment? What is it?
So I like a lot of the condiments in small quantities, not too much on any one thing.
Like what?
And I like a little bit of mustard, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of mayo, just not heavy on those sauces. And one I don't like, even though I love Korean food, is I really don't like gochujang.
Oh, gochujang. I just got turned on to about 3 years ago. It's Korean. I use it in paste form. It's spicy. I think it's one of the best things. I should have put that on my list. It's maybe right below mustard. My favorite. Jane, thank you. You don't eat it straight, gochujang. I actually brought you some chicken. I made chicken bites in gochujang, and you liked it.
Oh, yeah, they were good.
Well, she doesn't remember.
I had to apologize again. I made another mistake.
Okay.
I just called A1 steak sauce AI steak sauce.
And who else did that?
The Secretary of Education.
She did. Oh, my God.
A1 steak sauce. Okay, sorry
By the way,
about
the
that.
most disturbing part of this discussion
a lot of
is not the
mistakes today.
content. No, not
Yep.
your mistakes at
Yep.
all. That's fine. Is Nicole hasn't called in. Our former
I know.
employee called in 2 days in a row, and obviously maybe she's actually has to work today. I don't know.
Did you read what Erica Needham said?
No, what did he say?
It's a woman, Erica.
Oh, sorry.
Nice to know the next pandemic is incubating in Jim's refrigerator.
By the way, I wasn't saying that to be funny. I don't think I've ever gotten sick, nor is any condiment that is old that I've used tasted horribly.
Well, we've done these whole shows with Corby Kummer about how expiration
Well,
dates
those I know.
are kind of exaggerated.
But when they're way off, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
when they're way off. But some people eat cheese with mold all over it.
No, I would not.
They
Hard
cut
cheese, you can cut
they
the
cut
mold
the
off.
mold
Soft
off.
cheese, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's a little. That's
The only
too much.
condiment that I will not eat really old is mayonnaise.
Well, thank you, Jim.
Well, I know, it's not that interesting. Okay, we know how to say mayonnaise. Thank you.
Diane and Beverly, what do you think?
Hello, Diane.
Hi, how
Hello.
are you?
I think we're fine. Thank you for asking. Hello.
So I'm calling about a great book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, you're on, and you have to keep talking. And so you start,
Okay.
and then you keep talking. That's how it works here. Go ahead.
got Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
8 Flavors, The Untold Story of American Cuisine by Sarah Lohman.
And what about it?
They are black pepper, vanilla, curry powder, chili powder, soy sauce, garlic, MSG, and sriracha.
Wow.
And what are they?
especially soy and sriracha.
They're the American, most American condiments, or what's the theory? They're what?
They're foundational ingredients.
Oh, foundational.
I would agree with that. What's the name of the book one more time, please, Diane?
8 Flavors, The Untold Story of American Cuisine. The author is Sarah Lohman, Lohman.
I can't believe Chris Kimball hasn't written that book. It sounds fabulous. I'm actually going to check it out tonight. Diane, thank you very much. By the way, speaking of favorite condiments, the most famous person we sort of know who's ever spoken about her favorite condiment is obviously Hillary Clinton.
Right.
This is in 2016. She was in a radio interview. You'll first hear the host, and then you'll hear Hillary Clinton, I would argue, sort of trying to pander to the host, but she swears it's true. Here it is.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Are you getting information right now?
She said she kept it in her bag or pocketbook all the time.
We
Did you
thought
buy
she
that?
was trying to imitate Beyonce.
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Hillary always had a tough time, kind of.
Well, it's
kind of
not necessary to
communicating.
criticize
Michael
her
from
for that.
Watertown says he's with Eric Andre, legalized ranch dressing, and ranch dressing became huge during the
World Cup. You and Jamie
Yeah.
told me that this morning.
Yeah, people were selling it at the airport. So many people wanted to get it. There were people from other countries who hadn't had ranch dressing, and they just loved it.
What do you think about ranch dressing?
I like ranch dressing.
But you don't love
It's got a lot
ranch
of
dressing.
mayonnaise
Do
in
you
it.
love ranch dressing?
I think doesn't it have mayonnaise in it?
I assume I don't
think
know what it does.
I prefer Italian dressing myself.
You
but
do?
Yeah, but ranch dressing is pretty
Is
good.
ranch dressing a condiment?
It's creamy. It's creamy.
Is it a condiment?
I think it's on the condiment
well,
list.
actually, on the condiment list, ranch
dressing
dressing
is right up there near the top.
like 65% love it or like it, so it's in the top third. You're right.
Yeah. It's right behind jam or jelly, which I don't think of as a condiment
Now,
either.
Thousand Island dressing, which is all I used when I was a kid on iceberg lettuce, talk about a whatever taste thing, only 42%. That's third lowest on the whole list. The fourth least favorite condiment on the whole list. What do you think of that? Not much.
I told you before when I was in college, when I went over to England, they didn't have Thousand Island dressing, so I really missed it when I was there.
Now, Lynn Heineman, watching on YouTube, said, "Where is Nicole? Does Nicole have a favorite condiment?" Well, she's ghosting us today, Lynn, so we really don't know. By the way, anonymous texter says to that guy Joe that called, Joe's stone crab sauce is literally just mayo and Grey Poupon mustard. You know what I occasionally do, which I can't believe I haven't mentioned? You know, I said mustard was my favorite condiment. You know what my favorite condiment really is, which I forgot?
What?
Horseradish.
Oh, horseradish is
And
good.
you know what I occasionally do when I'm feeling really wild, which is quite often these days?
Jim,
he's
out there.
I'm sorry, Jamie.
He's wilding over there in Cambridge.
It's wild. It's wild some days there. I mix on a 4-to-1 ratio Dijon mustard with a little horseradish.
God,
what do you think of that?
I think it just
is that out of control?
Doesn't get any better than
I make
that.
sure nobody's watching when I'm doing it because it's the kind of thing you generally don't want people to know. But it's got a kick to it that is really beautiful. I would guess, knowing you hate horseradish. Is that correct?
No, when on Christmas Eve every year I make
shrimp cocktail.
No, I make.
You don't make it. You buy it.
I don't make it. We're not shrimp cocktail.
What?
A filet mignon. And
Excuse
you make
me.
a sauce for the filet mignon with horseradish.
How do you make it? I'd like to hear how you make it.
It's horseradish and is it
and
sour,
something
is
else.
it sour cream? It's something like that.
not.
I think it's sour cream
I'm sure it's
or something. You
excellent.
pour it over the filet mignon. People that are better cooks than I would know that. You know, Jim's feeling. We have a texter when Jim's feeling really wild. Ooh la la. What is Harriet?
Okay,
Heineman
fine.
think of that?
That's not
How's
really-
Harriet this summer?
She's good. She's good. Loves a good dog with Dijon on it.
Does she?
I wouldn't know, Marjorie. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen her in like 80 years.
Okay.
Give or take a week.
Garlic aioli on toast or veggies. That's
Garlic
a good one.
aioli is pretty good. But I mean,
Balsamic
if you say you like
vinegar.
garlic aioli, people think you're a feet and you're an a-hole. You know what I mean?
Balsamic vinegar on avocados.
You like that?
Yes,
You're a
I
big
do.
avocado
I'm
person.
a big avocado
Do you know how to, speaking of store, have you perfected the storing technique that causes it not to get black like after one day?
Well, you have
I'm
to-
talking guacamole, I'm talking. Or the avocado.
You have to wrap it really, really tight
Yeah.
in saran wrap. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we're not
Or a
supposed to
little
use saran
olive
wrap.
oil on top, by the way.
Is that what does it?
Yeah, a little olive oil.
didn't know that. I don't
care.
Well, actually, some people do. You don't. I do. Ron in Seabrook, you are. What are you? You're next on. What is this? BPR. Hello.
Hi, Ron.
Hello, Ron.
Hi, good afternoon. Hey, I am a real hot dog fanatic. And there's a place in York, most people have heard about it if they're local, and they make wonderful hot dogs.
What is it?
But it's called Flo.
Flows. Do you know?
Flows.
They have some unusual condiments that they've invented.
Like what? What's an unusual condiment?
It's this very dark, kind of sweet, onion-based relish.
Oh.
And they'll put that in hot dog with mayonnaise, of all things.
Ooh.
Really delicious.
Okay. Well.
They're
What?
willing-
What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
They're
you're the
willing
one
to-
calling, not me. What?
They humiliate anyone who asks for ketchup on the hot dog.
Well, that Nuki, I mean, the ketchup on the hot dog thing is an embarrassment, especially for a chef, but he's a nice guy otherwise. Now, Zoe, why is Zoe working from home, by the way? I thought we were supposed to come to work. Okay, you're the boss of the staff. Why is she working at home? Okay, she's working at home, and apparently she took a break in working from home and texted. And she said, I genuinely am enjoying watching my parasocial parents, I think that's us, talk about condiments. Well, I guess since we couldn't get Nicole today, we got Zoe, who still works. She still works here, correct?
Yes,
still
she does.
employed here.
Yes, she does.
Do you have any final comments about this? Because this is over.
Well, I think it's interesting that peanut butter is considered a
That's
condiment, which is
that's
ridiculous.
totally ridiculous.
And that of all the condiments, the first one that you think of is that ranch dressing is up there right behind ketchup as a condiment.
Can I ask you something?
It's
I should
odd.
ask off the air,
What?
but I got to get out of here quickly. Are you going to eat the mustards he gave you, or can I have them?
No, you cannot.
You're going to have them?
I have the world's best mustard
But
right
I know
here.
that, but you're never
going to
eat it.
Yes, I am. I'm
Are
going to
you
carry it
really?
around. I'm going to tell people about it.
What are you going
I
to
have
put
the
it
world's
on?
best mustard.
What are you going to put it on?
I'll think
Exactly,
of something.
my
I'll think
point.
of something.
Margie's going to call me when she gets home today and say, did I leave the mustard with you? It's not in my bag. Is that likely outcome?
No, I'm going to take it home because it's the world's best mustard.
Okay, don't forget Best of the Worst, First Street, Saturday. Is it Saturday? Yes, Saturday in Cambridge. You can Google it. Best of the Worst, W-U-R-S-T.
Joe,
Great
I forgot
chef.
to mention
What?
Heinz, Kraft Heinz makes Velveeta cheese to go. They call it Vel to go. How about that?
I mean, what do you say about it?
Velveeta cheese? The people are that crazy
I would
about
say
Velveeta.
Velveeta cheese not to go. It's also something I wouldn't have a comment on.
Yeah, I kind of
Okay,
like
that's
it.
it,
Ritz,
Marjorie.
Ritz cracker, Velveeta
Okay,
cheese.
goodbye.
You don't think
That's
so?
it. We're done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very much for tuning in today.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we're going to be here from the Hennepin County, Minnesota. Hennepin District Attorney Mary Moriarty. She's investigating. She's finally got federal evidence in the ICE killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. We're going to hear about that. Massachusetts Secretary of Public Safety Andrew Cabral is going to be with us as well. And environmentalist Bill McKibben. I can't wait to talk to him about the smoke that we've endured here from those terrible fires in Canada. We want to thank our crew, Zoe Matthews, who's apparently working from home. Jim's upset. Hannah Loss, Ariana Gonzalez. I think Hannah says she puts ketchup on her hot dogs too.
Listen. No, I think she's isn't Hannah an anti-ketchup person?
Or anti.
Hannah, you're pro-ketchup?
Pro-ketchup.
Oh, not on a hot dog. She's pro-ketchup, but not on
okay.
Don't get so upset.
Ariana
It's okay.
Gonzalez,
Yeah. Hannah's very upset in our ears. She's very troubled that we misrepresented her ketchup
Sorry,
position.
Hannah.
Thank you.
Jack Siciliano, engineer John the Claw Parker, executive producer Jane Bologna, our BPL crew, Maddie Guy, Patrick Lally, Hannah Eckert, Darius, and Derek, our host of the Newsfeed Cafe, and across the street at the Lennox Hotel.
Maddie eats ketchup under the dog, over the dog, and then dips it in ketchup. Could it be more disgusting?
The Curiosity Desk is coming up after us, and after that,
God.
The Culture Show. I'm Marjorie Egan.
Jim Browdy.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Hope you can tune in tomorrow. Bye-bye.
From the stories of centuries past to discoveries that will define our future, How Did We Get Here's, how-tos, and more. Journey with us down the rabbit hole on the Curiosity Desk. Coming up next on GBH 89.7.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And the Cambridge Homes, a nonprofit, independent, and assisted living residence proudly serving the Cambridge community and local seniors for more than 130 years. Learn more at thecambridgehomes.org/tradition. And Maine Maritime Museum. Their exhibit Upon That Isle in Maine, the story and works of Chris Van Dusen, explores original artwork from the children's book author and his connection to the Maine coast. MaineMaritimeMuseum.org.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Edgar B. Herwick III. Today on the Curiosity Desk, with climate change, there's a lot of walking while we chew gum. We do our best to limit our carbon footprint, but society's also got to prepare for what happens when we fall short of our goals, which we are. The question, are we doing all we can to keep our heads above water? We're going to learn, hopefully, how to better prepare for our own peace of mind. Then from above water to underneath the shower head. Have you ever been in the shower and had that classic aha moment? Well, it turns out there's a psychological reason why we're at our most creative in the shower. We will investigate. And it's another round of Ask the Remodeler, with a special summertime twist focusing, at least in part, on all things home cooling. AC, ceiling fans, and open refrigerator doors? Well, if you gotta. Call, text, phone lines are open. This hour on the Curiosity Desk.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The U.S. launched more airstrikes on Iran overnight, and Iran hit back against targets in the Gulf and Jordan. More from NPR's Jana Raff.
U.S. Central Command said targets overnight included aircraft hangars and drone storage sites. Iranian state media reported explosions in 7 Iranian provinces and said U.S. attacks included a strike on an electrical installation close to a nuclear power plant. Iran said it attacked targets in Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait, countries with an extensive U.S. military presence. Meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi rebels, backed by Iran, declared that a key Red Sea waterway, Bab el-Mandeb, would be off limits to Saudi Arabia. Jane Araf, NPR News, Amman.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi today on the sidelines of a regional summit in the Philippines. Ashish Valentine has more from Taipei.
The senior ministers of the world's 2 largest economies spoke about the fragile truce in Trump's trade war with China and the future of the Middle East conflict. Rubio and Wang also used the summit to pitch their respective nations as guardians of regional stability. Tensions in the region were reignited after a clash between China and the Philippines in disputed waters. Rubio reiterated Washington's treaty obligation to help defend the Philippines, while saying it was important to continue dialogue between the U.S. and China. Xi Jinping is expected to visit President Trump in Washington in September. For NPR News, I'm Ashish Valentine in Taipei.
Trump-backed candidates are celebrating wins in yesterday's Republican primaries in Arizona. They include races for a congressional seat and the governor's mansion. NPR's Sage Miller reports.
Armed with Trump's endorsement, former NFL kicker Jay Feely is the Republican nominee in Arizona's 1st congressional district. He beat a candidate to his right. His Democratic opponent has not been decided yet. This seat is critical for Democrats to win if the party wants to take control of the House in November. Conservative Congressman Andy Biggs, Trump's pick for Arizona governor, also won the Republican nomination. Biggs refused to certify the 2020 election results over Trump's unverified claims that the election was stolen. If elected, Biggs would have power over the election process in the swing state. Biggs will challenge Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs for the office. Hobbs is considered one of the most vulnerable Democratic incumbents this midterm. Sage Miller, NPR News.
A Senate panel has voted 8-4 to advance President Trump's nominee to lead the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Cameron Hamilton temporarily led the Disaster Response Agency at the start of President Trump's 2nd term. He clashed with Trump in defense of keeping FEMA open and was abruptly fired. The former Navy SEAL is now a full Senate vote away from retaking the helm. From Washington, it's NPR News.
Good afternoon with the latest from the GBH Newsroom in Boston. I'm Craig Lamolt. As heat waves become more common, local advocacy groups are making sure Salem residents, including the city's Latino community, are in a position to protect themselves. They gave a presentation last night on the dangers of extreme heat, along with tips on staying cool, with a Spanish translation for most attendees. Chantel Alex is with the North Shore Community Development Coalition. She says climate issues intersect with other issues like housing and poverty, since many residents can't afford cooling systems.
When you look at policies, when you look at access in the community, people can apply for fuel assistance in the winter. They cannot do that in the summertime. Those programs don't exist. There's no policy addressing that need.
Alex says after surveying 80 residents, they found one of the biggest barriers to staying cool is concerns about high electricity bills. It's a big day at Fenway Park as the Red Sox look to make some history in today's doubleheader. If the Sox beat the Orioles in Game 1, it'll be their 15th win in a row. That would tie the team's all-time winning streak. Austin Ahern is going to the second game of the doubleheader where the Sox could have the chance to break that record. He says he's thrilled by the team's turnaround after a lackluster start to the season.
Not enough words can say it, in my opinion. I mean, it's incredible. It's miraculous. I mean, the team has really come together, and we've known that they have talent on this team. It was just a matter of maybe finding the right moment for it all to come together.
With the winning streak, the Red Sox are looking to tie and then break was set all the way back in 1946. This is GBH.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Subaru. The 2026 Subaru Outback features new styling as well as standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and EyeSight driver assist technology. Learn more at Subaru.com/Outback.
welcome to the Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. I'm Edgar B. Herwick III. We are streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/GBH News. Why don't you join us there? Well, earlier this week, the city of Boston unveiled plans for over $10 billion in coastal resilience projects. And Massachusetts legislators are trying to pass a $3 billion bond bill to shore up the state's infrastructure against heat, flooding, and storms. Well, this got us thinking, what does it actually mean to be resilient in the face of climate change? To help us define those buzzwords, we're joined now by Katherine Anton, the Undersecretary of Resilience and Decarbonization for the Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and Emma Gildesgame, Climate Adaptation Director for the Nature Conservancy here in Massachusetts. Katherine, Emma, welcome to the Curiosity Desk.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks.
Well, let's start by getting our bearings a little bit. I'll start with you, Katherine. What does the EEA climate team do?
Yeah, our team leads the development and also the implementation of two of the state's major climate plans. The first is how do we reduce greenhouse gas emissions to stave off the worst impacts of climate change.
So that's the decarbonization part of your title.
Yes, the decarb part, our clean energy and climate plan. And then the second is how do we adapt to the effects of climate change that we are experiencing today and we're going to increasingly experience. And that is our statewide climate adaptation plan known as Resilient Mass. In terms of implementing those plans, one of the big programs that my team leads is the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Grant Program. It's one of the largest and most competitive grant programs in the state. And it's where we really support cities and towns in understanding how is climate change affecting them? What are the big vulnerabilities they need to address? And then gives them the resources to implement projects that is going to prepare and protect them. We also have an Office of Climate Science, climate analytics team to really help us understand what does climate change mean here in Massachusetts? How do we prepare for it? How do we design for it? Also, what are things that we can be doing to reduce energy use, to be more efficient, to help keep us cool? So those are the main things that my team leads here in the state.
Sounds like the kind of job where you have a lot of free time on your hands. Emma, how about the Nature Conservancy? What are you all about?
Yeah, so the Nature Conservancy is a global organization. We work to address the really interconnected crises that we're facing of climate change and biodiversity loss. We're really rooted in science to work towards a future to where we can all have a livable climate, healthy communities, and thriving nature all together. On the climate adaptation front, we work globally and right here in Massachusetts to really harness the power of nature to both slow down the pace of climate change, that decarbonization, and also to help people stay safer from the impacts we can't avoid, the impacts we're already seeing today. So things that I work on with my team include focusing on systems change so that our systems really support people and nature thriving together, and to make sure that Massachusetts communities have tools and support they need to work with nature and benefit from these resilient, connected natural processes and systems that we know help keep all of us safer from climate change, which did include helping to start the MVP program, which we are so proud of how the state has rolled that out. It's
and
really
the MVP program is?
The Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program.
Right on.
Which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, I think.
All right. Well, so where we stand right now, Boston confronts an estimated maybe 4 feet of sea level rise by the end of the century. That's one of the numbers that we see put out there. You both sort of said words which we hear a lot, resilience, and you said adaptation. So I want to talk to you both a little bit about what is resilience. When we hear this word, when people use this word, what are we talking about? What's resilience?
What resilience is really about is how can you become stronger in the face of change? It's not just adapting to that change. It's also how do we strengthen our infrastructure? What are the other benefits that our communities want to see in terms of increased access to recreational spaces or roads that are more reliable that can get you around safely and also handle more extreme rainfall events? Schools that are cheaper to heat and cool because they're energy efficient. And that's also resilience because it means when we have an extreme heat event in the spring or the fall, those schools can stay open. So really the heart of it is about becoming stronger in the face of change.
Does that sound right to you, Emma?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, really adaptation is something that helps us build resilience. It's recognizing that our future, our present looks different than our past, that our future is going to look even more different, and that we have to think carefully about the ways that we build and live and manage our world so that we can meet the realities of the future and be stronger in the face of the challenges that are coming.
Listen to the Curiosity Desk. We're talking about climate resilience and adaptation with Katherine Anton from the State Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs and Emma Gildesgame from the Nature Conservancy. Well, I think everybody knows this is an enormous challenge. There are any number of things we could be doing. For you, Katherine, when you look at this, what are the top areas or categories that you're thinking about when we're focusing on resilience efforts right now here in Massachusetts?
In Massachusetts, there's a lot that we're focused on that has to do with flooding.
Yeah.
That's because, we're getting more extreme rainfall events. We know that the types of storms we see today that would only happen once every 10 years, they're going to become more like storms that we're going to see once every 3 years. So how do we prepare for that? That makes our rivers flow stronger. It also means we have flooding in areas we didn't see as much. We have a very large coastal area. So we're dealing with sea level rise. And when we get hurricanes and storm surge. So we're really looking at water from multiple fronts. And some of the things that we're doing there is, one, how can we look at natural solutions such as wetland restoration, oyster reefs to help make us stronger? Two, how do we make sure that our aging infrastructure, as we're repairing it, we're also thinking about what are the types of weather conditions, like how strong are those storms going to be in the future so that that culvert can still allow water to flow through and our roads remain passable. And so we're also, in addition to flooding, also thinking about heat. I grew up in Massachusetts. I did not grow up in a house with air conditioning. That was fine because the nights cooled off.
Yeah.
But Massachusetts is actually, it's heating faster than the global average and our night times in particular. And so a lot of what we're focused on there is how do we make sure that our buildings have access to cooling, and how can we do that affordably, and how can we do that efficiently, both in terms of where we live and those health impacts, but also so we can keep schools open as well.
Emma, when you hear this, are there nature-based approaches here that that meet these challenges that you hear Katherine talking about?
Oh, absolutely. And you just mentioned a few of them. Basically, a nature-based approach is just the idea of working with nature to keep us cool, reduce flooding, clean our air and water, slow down the pace of climate change by absorbing carbon dioxide. And so we know that nature has a huge role to play in helping us not just survive, but thrive. Because it's not just, we're going to put nature and it's going to help with flooding.
Right.
If you imagine a pocket park, like a lot of communities are starting to put in, imagine trees in a place that didn't used to have them. Those trees are providing shade and cooling. They're helping reduce the urban heat effect, which basically is, and many of you listening probably know this just from your own experience, of places with trees don't get nearly as hot as places that are just pavement radiating without trees. And so not only are they providing shade and cooling, but their roots are actually helping funnel rainwater into the ground, which reduces stormwater flooding and also can help recharge aquifers, because we're not just seeing more intense rainstorms, we're seeing longer, hotter periods without rain. So we have to really get ready for both extremes. And not only do they do all that, but who doesn't love a park? Yeah. It's amazing to have these benefits that also really bring joy and calm and community and connection to people who live, work, and play near them.
I mean, I hear a lot. I mean, especially around nature-based solutions, some of this stuff you hear it and you're like, it's kind of, it's like sort of, it's a no-brainer. And then you say, but anything that we hear people talking about costs money. It costs money to build a park. It costs money to, build a flood wall, whatever it is. So, what's available to communities, who are, grappling with all kinds of budget problems? What's available to help pay for these efforts?
Well, I appreciate that you mentioned the Environmental Bond Bill, Mass Ready Act, that's working its way through the legislature, because that actually provides the funding authorization for many of our grant programs that support this resilience work, whether it's repairing and strengthening seawalls or removing dams or ecological restoration. It also, you've heard us talk a few times about the MVP grant program. The governor, when she filed Mass Ready, more than doubled the funding that would go towards that, and actually actually, the Senate came out with an even higher number, and we know that the demand is there for the program. So those are existing grant programs we have that we can give resources to communities, to nonprofits, to other organizations to do this work. We also know our grants alone aren't the only way to pay for it. And so that's why in the Mass Ready Act, we also proposed the Resilience Revolving Fund, which would create a low interest loan program so that cities and towns, water and wastewater districts, tribes can come in and get a loan to help them finance these projects that are going to save them money over time because it avoids damages. And they just need ways to figure out how to pay for it. So it puts another tool in the toolbox. And that's something that the Nature Conservancy has been a great partner in terms of helping us think through how do we design these programs.
Emma, you mentioned that the Nature Conservancy is, not just operating here in Massachusetts. How does where we are in Massachusetts, the way we're doing things, the plans we have, the monies we're making available, how does it stack up against other places?
So we are absolutely the leader. Massachusetts actually started the MVP program many years ago at this point, in partnership with TNC. And then really quickly, we went as TNC over to Rhode Island and started the MRP, which is the Municipal Resilience Program there, which is the same idea, just adapted for the specific needs of Rhode Island. And now I'm actively working with 2 other states to get similar programs started there. The rest of the country is looking to us and saying, oh, that's really smart, and we need to be doing something similar. So Massachusetts is absolutely a leader in this, and we're inspiring the rest of the country. And, I'm working specifically in the Northeast on helping make that happen. And I also just really want to underline that this is expensive. The cost of doing nothing is much higher. If you do the classic cost benefit of like every dollar we invest in resilience comes back with, the numbers vary based on exactly what you're doing, but often more than $10 back in benefits. And that's not even counting the things like people don't have to live through severe floods, which you can't put a dollar value on.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. We've been speaking with Katherine Anton, the Undersecretary of Resilience and Decarbonization for the Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and Emma Gildesgame, the Climate Adaptation Director for the Nature Conservancy in Massachusetts. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Up next, I'm actually not sure what we have coming up. I'm going to go hop in the shower and see if I can think something up real quick. But why is it that we always find inspiration when we're scrub-a-dub-dubbing? Eureka! It's the Curiosity Desk. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Henry Santoro. Today on The Culture Show, Boston's World Cup party spilled from the stadium into its pubs. We'll ask bar owners what the city can learn from the Tartan Army and the late-night crowds that transformed Boston. Then another local institution marks a milestone. Regina Pizzeria is celebrating 100 years. Corporate chef Mark Murphy joins us to talk crust, tradition, and a century of Boston loyalty. That and more is on The Culture Show today at 2 on 89.7 GBH.
Support for our programs comes from you.
And Newport Mansions, presenting Revolution Reimagined, a new exhibit at Rosecliff exploring Newport, Rhode Island's role in the American Revolution and how later generations reshaped the city's collective memory. NewportMansions.org. And the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority, committed to simplifying college planning for families over 45 years with trusted guidance, interactive tools, step-by-step videos, and more. MEFA.org.
You're listening to the Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. I'm Edgar B. Herwick III. We're streaming live at youtube.com/GBH News. Why don't you join us there? Well, we have all had that moment, standing in the shower mid-shampoo, when inspiration washes over. Suddenly, you figured out that homework problem that's been nagging you, or you get an idea for how to rearrange your living room. Now, however brilliant or benign your break through the shower is often the space you want to be for random moments of insight. Our question, what is it about taking a shower that creates the ideal conditions for creativity? Like, what is actually happening in our brains? And also, if all breakthroughs do in fact come in the shower, how did the person who invented the shower ever get the idea for the shower in the first place? For a deeper understanding of the shower effect, we're joined via Zoom by Jonathan Schooler. Jonathan is a distinguished professor of psychological and brain sciences at UC Santa Barbara. Jonathan Schooler, welcome to the Curiosity Desk.
Thanks, Edgar. Great to be here.
So what is it about the shower? Why are we saving our best ideas for when we're shampooing our hair?
Well, I don't know if they're necessarily our best ideas, but we definitely have good ideas in the shower. And there seems to be a variety of things that may contribute to that benefit. Some of them is that when we sleep, we actually are engaging in consolidation of information of the previous day. And so oftentimes when we take a shower, we're the beneficiary of that consolidation process. So we're kind of waking up. It's allowing us to take advantage of all the material that got integrated over the evening. Also, the shower is this very sort of relaxing place where we can mind wander. It doesn't take our full attention to engage in washing ourselves. And so it's really sort of an ideal place for mind wandering. And we find that mind wandering is also a source of creativity in the same sense that dreams are an opportunity for consolidation. So too is daydreaming. And so when you're in the shower, it's a great opportunity for daydreaming. And we can go into this more, but research suggests that daydreaming contributes to creativity as well.
Well, let's get into it a little bit more. I mean, you used the term mind wandering. I know you study another term scientists use called the incubation effect. So what do we know about what is actually happening in our brain when we are either mind wandering or incubating?
Yeah, so there's a set of brain regions known collectively as the default mode network.
The default mode network.
The default mode network. And they discovered the default mode network in kind of a curious way. They were having people engage in some task and then looking at the activity when they were doing whatever task they were doing, and then they'd have them rest and then do some other task. And they noticed that when people were at rest in the brain, not given anything to do at all, that this set of brain regions was actually more active when people were not doing anything than when they were actively doing something. And so the idea was that, oh, this is what the brain does by default when it's not given anything else to do. And research by myself and others in a paper one with the Kalina Christoph, we measured people while they were doing a task, but also we pinged them in periodically and went, it was a boring task, just now were you mind wandering? And what we found is that when people were mind wandering, the same region, the default mode network, was also active, indicating that mind wandering and the default mode network are intimately connected. But interestingly, so typically when people are in the sort of default mode, what's known as the executive network tends to be down-regulated. So this is the frontal cortex. This is the thinking system. But when people are mind wandering, an interesting thing happens. You get both activation of this executive system and the default mode network. So it seems like this is sort of an opportunity for the two systems to crosstalk. And that may be one of the reasons why mind wandering is particularly helpful for creativity.
Is there something in particular about the shower that adds to this, which is to say, here you talk about, these network systems and mind wandering, this sort of thing. I mean, I could be sitting alone in an empty room and doing that, or I could be doing another task, like, say, folding my laundry. Maybe doesn't seem to happen quite the same as it does in the shower. Is there something else happening in the shower in addition to that mind wandering?
That's a great question. And I have to say, we need more shower research. Because
amazing. All right, anybody, researchers out there listening right now, you just heard it. We need more shower research. I'm sorry, Jonathan, continue.
But there are a number of reasons to think that the shower may be especially conducive to creative ideas. One thing is that people don't really like to just sit by themselves. There's research by Tim Wilson, which indicated that when people are just left to their own devices, they tend to get bored. In fact, in one study that he did, they actually were likely to shock themselves given the opportunity rather than just sitting idly. People just don't like to sit idly. So
wait, they'd rather shock themselves than just sit doing nothing?
Themselves. Yeah, they want to do something.
That's amazing.
They're that bored. They just don't like it. People really need to become more. I think people need to become more comfortable with reverie. The opportunity just to be comfortable in your own skin, just mind wandering, or what I like to call mind wandering, which is curious mind wandering. We'll come back to that. But the shower is an opportunity to engage in sort of idle mind wandering. But it's not boring, right? You're engaged. It feels good. It's something you don't feel like shocking yourself when you're in the shower. So it's an especially pleasant situation. And we do find that it's when people are engaged in non-demanding tasks that they get the sort of the best bang for their buck. And mind wandering. If you're too engaged, if you're doing something that's really involved, you're not going to really have the extra resources available for mind wandering. So the shower has this. It's very pleasant. It's, as I mentioned before, it's oftentimes first thing in the morning when you're getting the benefits of all that consolidation of sleeping. It may also be a very novel place. There's nothing quite like a shower, so it sort of brings out a special relaxed state of mind. There may also be, and I'm actually very interested in doing this, I think hot tubs may also have this, there may be sort of openness and expansiveness that comes from engaging in a shower. So we need more shower research. I think we also need more hot tub research.
This is, I mean, there's somebody out there listening saying, this is for me. This is a job for me. You are listening to the Curiosity Desk. We're talking about the shower effect with UC Santa Barbara psychologist Jonathan Schooler. You mentioned mind wondering versus mind wandering. What's the distinction for you?
Yeah, so let's face it, not all mind wandering is necessarily productive. If you are engaging in just perseveration, thinking, I should have done this, I shouldn't have done that, it's probably not going to be conducive to creativity. But what we find is that when people are engaging in curious mind wandering, where they're just sort of thinking playfully, wondering about stuff that grabs their interest, that's the kind of curious daydreaming that seems to be conducive to creativity. Also, there's research which finds that on average, when people are mind wandering, they're less happy than when they're currently engaged in a task. But what we find is if they're mind wandering about something they're especially interested in, they're actually happier than when they're engaged in a task positive situation. So it's that curious, interesting mind wandering that's the kind that seems to be especially sweet spot for being conducive both to well-being and creativity.
Is this something that people have more control over than they think they do?
That's a great question, and also something that we need more research on. We believe that it's possible to gain what we call meta-awareness, which is your awareness of your current state of mind, and to direct your thoughts in a more profitable direction. And meta-awareness definitely shows up, for example, when people are meditating and they're trying to focus on their breath, they catch themselves routinely going, oh, I was mind wandering. I need to come back to the breath. Or, and I'm sure all of your readers are familiar with this, you're reading and you realize that your eyes have been moving across the page, but your mind is somewhere else entirely, right? Then you have this moment of meta-awareness where you go, oh, geez, how did that happen? And you have to bring yourself back and attend to the material. But we also think that you can catch yourself mind wandering, engaging in perseverative negative rumination, go, this is not what I should be mind wandering about. I'm going to think about that Curiosity podcast I was listening to. That was.
Does Mark Zuckerberg allow you to call it meta-awareness, or is he coming after you when you use terms like that?
Well, this is tough because I've been running the Meta Lab for the last 20 years, and Mark Zuckerberg stole my my name, my term. So he really owes me, not me him.
Speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, I mean, it's 2026, and I think a lot of people, whether they want to or not, when they do have a spare second, rather than shocking themselves if they find themselves alone, even for 10 seconds waiting in traffic, out comes the phone. Here comes the scrolling or firing off a text or whatever it is. I mean, do you worry about that? I mean, you're talking about all the benefits of letting your mind just wander. Do you worry that we're plugging that sort of part of our brain up?
I do. I feel like people need to recognize the value of an idle moment, right? They need to appreciate how having a little spare time doesn't need to be filled necessarily with listening to a podcast or checking email or whatever it is that they're doing, but just thinking about whatever grabs their attention, or engaging in reminiscence, or all the other sort of valuable things that the mind naturally does. So I think appreciating that we've got this beautiful podcast going on in our own mind that we can really attend to if we want to, and taking advantage of that really interesting narrative that's going on, and finding beauty and wonder in everyday moments, as opposed to always having to go back to that smartphone.
You talk about, the shower as kind of having this magic effect to a certain degree, and I sort of hear you when you say it, but I think one of the sort of, I don't know if it's downside, but one of the effects of that, at least for me, and I think a lot of people experience this, is that because you are in this somewhat dreamlike state, when you have an insight, when you get an idea, sometimes it can be hard to hold on to. You can lose it by the time you're out of the shower. Is that a function of the space that we're in? And do you have any tips for how to hang on to those ideas when our mind is wandering and we find them float past?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing that's interesting is that if we have a really good idea, we oftentimes have that aha moment, right?
Yeah.
And the classic example is Archimedes. They didn't have showers back then, but they had bathtubs, and he had this amazing aha moment in the bathtub of realizing how to calculate the volume of a crown by submerging it in water. But I think that part of the reason why we have aha experiences is it's a marker. It's like you just had a good idea. And so that good idea is going to be remembered because of the aha moment. So we're actually, I think, naturally wired, maybe not to remember all of the ideas that we have in the showers, but the good ones. We have this, we call it, Ruben Lacan and I and others have referred to it as the eureka heuristic, right? Where when you have that aha moment, it's like, good idea, remember that. That said, I think if you do have a eureka idea in the shower, a good idea to write it down. And you can actually get these waterproof scroll boards or mark boards that you could put in the shower.
Oh, amazing.
If finding that you're forgetting your ideas. But writing down ideas, a former advisor of mine, Doug Herman, used to carry cards in his pocket. Whenever he had an idea, he'd just write it down. And that seems to be a valuable way to hold on to those mind-wandering insights.
Nice. All right, Jonathan Schooler, before I let you go, I do have to ask you this, because given your name and your job as a distinguished professor, I am curious if you are a believer in nominative determinism. That is to say, the idea that people gravitate towards jobs that are like their name. Jonathan Schooler, schooling people. Thoughts?
Absolutely. There is research on this, and people who have names like a Taylor, a person with the last name Taylor, who's a Taylor, tends to be happier. People who have names that also correspond to the city that they live in. So a Taylor who lives in Tennessee or state Tennessee is going to be happier. I happen to be a professor named Schooler who lives in Santa Barbara, and I'm a very happy guy. So it all lines up.
There it is. We've been speaking with Jonathan Schooler, distinguished professor of psychology and brain sciences at UC Santa Barbara. Dr. Schooler, thanks so much for your time and expertise.
It's been a pleasure.
When we return,
We're opening up those phone lines and text lines for the July edition of Ask the Remodeler. We got a cool spin for you today with a special focus this week on one of mankind's greatest inventions, aside from the shower, air conditioning. We'll take those general inquiries too. This is the Curiosity Desk. Don't go anywhere.
The 20-armed sunflower star is a highly endangered sea star in the Pacific Ocean. After an undersea pandemic nearly wiped the species out, a Northwest tribe is working to bring the sea stars back from the brink of extinction.
Pools open?
Pools open! I'm Elsa Chang. Dive into that story on All Things Considered from NPR News.
Today at 4, here on GBH News 89.7.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And Modern Pest Services, providing integrated pest management for Boston homes and businesses. Modern Pest uses a prevention-first approach to seasonal pests to help target the source of the problem. Learn more at modernpest.com. And Roto-Rooter, providing plumbing, drain cleaning, and water cleanup services in North America since 1935. 24/7 emergency services available. Service information and scheduling can be found at rotorooter.com.
You are listening to the Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. I'm Edgar B. Herwick III. We're streaming live at youtube.com/GBH News. Welcome one, welcome all. It is the July edition of Ask the Remodeler. If you're out there listening and you've got a home repair question or a remodeling project you can't get your head quite around, we've got the expert Mark Philben with us to help you out, and we've got a cool spin on our usual format. Those of you watching on the YouTube stream might notice we have a second guest in the studio. Yeah, with summer heat in full force, now's the time to make sure your air conditioning is working as it should. 877-301-8970 is the number. I'm going to give that to you again, 877-301-8970. Give us a call. Give us a text. With us, as always, Mark Philben. Mark is the Project Development Manager at Charlie Allen Renovations in Cambridge. He's also the guy behind the Boston Globe's Ask the Remodeler series. And with him today, special guest from CPS Heating and Cooling in Westborough, President Phil Baldwin. Mark, Phil, welcome to the Curiosity Desk.
Thanks for having us. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's great to have you back, Mark. But Phil, since Phil is the special guest, I want to start with him. A question that's been kicking around in our production meetings in the lead up to this, when we found out we were going to have an HVAC expert with us, was a lot of talk about red lights going on our window units telling us to change our filter on our air conditioners, and how seriously we need to take it, and then how do we do it, and what do we do? So what are your thoughts on that, Phil?
The red lights are generally just a timer, so that doesn't really mean that the filter's dirty on most air conditioning
Really, it
systems.
just means a certain amount of time has gone by.
A certain amount of time's gone by. Some people, if you have pets, mold, or pets, it's a dusty environment, they're doing street work, your filter will get dirty a lot faster. If you keep a real tight house where you don't open the windows a lot and it just runs, then you probably can wait a little bit longer to do that. You could just hit reset on the red light.
Okay. Now, if I do want to change the filter, what's my best course of action? Is this a thing you can do yourself? Is this a thing you got to call an expert for? Do I just go to YouTube, look up my model number, and say, how do I get at the filter? What's the best advice here?
I would say YouTube is a fabulous resource for something like this. If you have a window unit or something small, some of the more bigger units, like a central air conditioning in your home, you may have to climb in an attic, which can be dangerous. People aren't familiar with their environment. Things like that could be a little bit of a drawback, but on a typical window unit or ductless wall unit, those are very easy to pull out, wash them off, dry them completely, then stick them back in the unit.
All right, that's Phil Baldwin. He's our special guest today, CPS Heating and Cooling, for your HVAC questions. Mark, let's get you in here. I mean, we don't want to put Phil out of business, but you recently wrote a column all about another way to cool off, I guess, some days, which is a screened-in porch, which you have noted has become easier to do than it used to be.
They are. Yeah, there's a lot of products on the market now that just make it much easier to screen in a space without having to install screened-in windows or something like that. It's called Screenies.
Screenies?
Screenies is the name of it.
Screenies. What's different about it?
It's a very simple track system that's very easy to install. The screen just gets snapped into the frame that you put in, and then you snap a piece over that, and it just goes in very, very easily.
Is this a thing you can do yourself, or is this still 100%. Something 100%?
Two-person job.
All right.
Yeah, it does take two people to do it, but it's really, really simple.
All right, that's pretty good. You are listening to the Curiosity Desk. This is our HVAC special edition of Ask the Remodeler. So we've still got Mark Philben from Charlie Allen Renovations, so you can call for any of your remodeling questions. But if you got something on heating and cooling, we've also got Phil Baldwin from CPS Heating and Cooling with us. Going to give you that number, 877-301-8970. That's 877-301-8970. We're going to go to the phone lines. Jane in Concord, kick us off. You got a question?
Yes. Hi, guys. Well, I am a fan of whole house exhaust fans. I used to have one.
A fan of fans?
There's a shocker.
In an attic fan.
Yes.
And on a non-humid, nice, dry evening when the air is dry, you just open your windows a tiny bit, turn on the whole house fan, and in minutes you feel like you've got instant air conditioning, and it can bring the temperature of your house down by like 20 or 30 degrees overnight from a hot 80-something degree day to like you're in the 60s in the morning and you have to put on a jacket. So my question is, why aren't they required for all new homes? And how would you recommend people retrofit their homes in order to use one?
All right, Jane, you really are a fan of the fan. You are beating the drum for requiring it. What's our take on this, gentlemen?
Do you want to take that, Phil? I got some thoughts on it too.
I have a couple of thoughts. First of all, I think the energy code is going to restrict that a lot because you have to have such high insulation values between your inside and your outside of your house.
So in order for it to work right?
Well, in order for the house to be tight to meet the energy codes of today.
I see.
So usually when you have an attic fan, you have some sort of louvers that opens the air to the attic, which are not very insulated, so that can be part of the problem. Also, Boston's a little bit on the coast here, so we get a little bit more humidity than we would inland. And they can be noisy for people who are that are bothered by noise, like my father when I was young.
Yeah.
I would turn the fan on high, he would turn it off and turn his air conditioning on in his room. It was very upsetting, but we tried to live through that. So I have a lot of shock and awe to the attic fan, but I can understand
trauma.
A little trauma. Yes, that's what I was going for. But I can understand where you're coming from. And they do a great job if you do have a night where it cools off nicely and the humidity drops.
What are your thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, we used to install some of those, but the nights are so humid now that it just brings in humid air into the home, and most people don't want that. Another thing, too, people don't want for them to work properly. It's typically in a ceiling in the on the second floor, going up into the attic. You would have to really leave all the bedroom doors open, as well as the windows, to have it really draw. And most people don't want to do that. The kids go to bed, they shut the doors,
right,
and they can open the windows if they want, but it's not going to draw the air without all the doors open and the windows open. It's not really practical. And plus, we used to go in and people had them installed improperly. It takes a lot of air. It takes a huge amount of space to exhaust the air that you pull through the house. And most people don't have that set up in their attic. And it takes an enormous amount of exhaust air in order to push the air out of the house and work properly. So they're tricky.
Yeah. So Jane, sounds like you are among the lucky few for whom it works perfectly. So count your blessings. This is Ask the Remodeler on the Curiosity Desk. Give us a ring, 877-301-8970. That's 877-301-8970. We've got a text here. My home was repaired after a fire. Unfortunately, the contractor never left any extra vinyl siding. Now I have some holes in the vinyl siding, wondering what's the easiest or best way to repair them. They note, unfortunately, they have chosen a color they are not sure will be easy to find. What do you think, Mark?
That's a tough one, because you can't really repair vinyl siding. You replace vinyl siding.
Really?
Yeah, and if you can't find the color to match, that's going to be tricky. It could, vinyl siding fades, so even if you found the color, it probably still wouldn't match.
It's not going to match.
It's going to be the new.
If you're not worried about aesthetics, is there a way to patch an area? No.
Not vinyl siding.
Wow.
No. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right, Phil, we're going to turn to you with a question. This was a big topic of conversation around here. And I think it was Wirecutter for New York Times recently did a big look at this. But energy efficiency when it comes to leaving the AC running in the house when you're not home. What are your thoughts on this?
This is always a plus-minus thing. There's no
one solution.
There's no one solution. Like if the woman with the attic fan, if you had an attic fan and it was a dry day and you decide, hey, I'm going to raise the temperature, turn it off, and then turn it back on when I get back, 100% fine in that application. But around here, if you have a high humidity day, there's just a lot of energy being used to remove the humidity from the air first, because that's what holds all the energy. And it just takes a long time for the air conditioner to cool off. Plus, that humidity gets into everything in the house, so you have to dry all that out again. So it really depends on the day, the time, the way the wind's blowing. There's a bunch of different varieties. Whenever the air conditioner is off, you're definitely saving money.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean in the long term you saved any money over if it was a hot, humid day and you came home.
And then you came home and you just whacked it down to 67 degrees and
usually that won't cool off until tomorrow. And we get tons of phone calls from people. Hey, I just got home. It's 95 degrees in my house. It's not working.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, give me a call back tomorrow. We'll see what we can do. See how it is then.
Some things just take time.
Just take time.
All right, we're going to go back to the phones. By the way, if you want to give us a call, 877-301-8970. We're going to turn to Susan in Dudley. Susan, welcome to the Curiosity Desk. Go ahead and ask the remodeler or the HVAC expert.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I have a Frigidaire portable air conditioner that stopped cooling.
Is it plugged in?
Stand up.
And turned on.
No.
Is it turned on?
Is it turned on,
I read
Susan?
through the book. I did. Yes, it was turned on, and it's blowing air, but not cool air.
Generally speaking, those little window units are not. They're not built
durable.
They're not durable. They're not built to the highest quality because they're more of a disposable type item. So generally speaking, when it starts blowing hot air, it lost its refrigerant charge. So when that starts happening, there's no way to really fix those properly. So generally speaking, you bring it to your recycling center and go to Home Depot or your place of choice and purchase another one. Excuse me.
All right, and you can't. There's no way to add refrigerant to it.
There is a way to.
There is a way that you do not recommend.
Yes, there is a way to do it, but the cost-benefit analysis is just not there because it's going to cost so much money to do that repair. Where
you may as well just buy
I can go to any
unit.
big box store and buy one for $150.
All right, Susan. So it sounds like you're off to Home Depot or your store of choice for a new refrigerator. Thank you for the call. Mark, Liz in Cambridge is asking, Liz is worried about a warming planet, which I think we can all get behind. I think a lot of us are worried about that. We were just talking about it earlier. Liz wants to put plug-in solar panels on an 11x4 balcony. Good idea? ?
Not familiar with those.
Okay.
We've worked with, solar installers, but never just a plug-in. Yeah, no, they're pretty involved with inverters and all that. It's a pretty involved process. Not familiar with that.
All right, so maybe something it's really kind of up to her to sort of figure out.
Are you, Phil? A plug-in solar?
I don't see how you would backfeed your power grid with the power on without that conflicting. It's
I don't know how you'd feed the panel with something like that. Yeah. It doesn't. I'm not sure.
So sounds definitely not like a slam dunk. Maybe not a good idea. We got two experts in here kind of scratching their heads a little bit.
Yeah. I think that could be complicated for sure.
Do some Googling.
There you go. All right, we're going to go back to the phones. Dee in Andover, welcome to the Curiosity Desk. You got a question for us?
Thanks so much for taking my call.
Indeed.
I own Mitsubishi mini split wall units in my house, which I love. However, there was a drip coming from one of the units, and I called the company where I purchased the unit. They and I described to them exactly what was happening with the drip. They charged me a cost to come out to my house to diagnose the problem, which was the drip tray. And the drip tray is under warranty, and then the company charged me again to come back and install the drip tray, and which was about $800 in total. So now I'm having the same issue with another unit. So I'm wondering if I could get your advice on the best way to fix this.
I think a plug-in solar thing would probably help that.
If you plug the solar in right underneath the unit, it'd be great. It'll hold the water.
I wish.
Yeah. No, what? That does happen, and unfortunately, the contractor in this case is a little bit behind on this, and I'll explain to you what happens. So we buy a product and we install a product. Now, we didn't manufacture it, we don't make it,
right?
And sometimes they fail, and the manufacturer warranties the part, but they don't warranty any part of labor, returning that part, shipping that part, somebody receiving that part, and plus the truck driving. So they only give us the part, so there is a charge for that. Now, why it's dripping, it's hard to say without being there, but usually those drip trays are pretty substantial. I don't see that they break a lot. What I have had is people turn them off and on, like somebody doesn't turn it on all day and then they turn it on at night. All of a sudden, it's very humid in the house, and sometimes the actual plastic itself will start to sweat. And I've seen dripping from that. Or if there's a refrigerant charge problem, sometimes the coil gets too cold and it blows the water right off of the coil.
All right. So, D, sounds like good luck.
I wish I had a better solution, but without checking it out, it's hard to say.
Yeah. No, that's good. 877-301-8970. Give us a call or a text. This is our latest edition of Ask the Remodeler. We've got Mark Philben from Charlie Allen Renovations, and special guest with him today, Phil Baldwin from CPS Heating and Cooling for your HVAC questions. We got Amy in Medford who texted in, asks, how important is it to service your central air system every year, and what is happening when you do get it serviced?
So when for air conditioning purpose, when we're getting a service, we're trying to keep the efficiency of the unit where it's supposed to be. So that means checking your inside coils, making sure they're clean. Sometimes you can't get to the coil. You could do pressure test to make sure that the air is flowing through the coil inside properly. You want to make sure the coil outside is clean. We want to make sure all the electrical components within the outdoor unit are also working properly. There's parts in there that help the compressor get started, and over time they wear. It's just like tires on a car. They kind of just wear out. So we check them preemptively to see if it's outside the manufacturer specifications. If everything is within manufacturer specifications, you should be fine. If not, you could bring it to the customer's attention and let them know, hey, yeah, it's still working now, but this is going to be a problem sometime in the future. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to prevent a problem from happening. Because it always happens July 4th, 7 p.m. Everybody's going to a party at your house, and the air conditioning doesn't work.
It's a rule of nature.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we got an anonymous text here, which is the ultimate perfect text for the two of you who are here in studio with us right now. So they ask, is summertime the best time for big remodeling projects? And if so, how will you manage cooling during a remodeling project and construction? So, thoughts from each of you. Mark, you start. Is summer a good time to do it?
It's as good a time as any. It's
like all year is good.
Yeah, it really is. And as far as cooling the house, we actually bring in. We're doing on a job right now that Phil's going to be working on. We bring in window air conditioners when the systems are shut down in the house for the guys because it gets really, really hot. It's too hot to work and it's dangerous. So that's a big part of it is just temporarily cooling it with window air conditioners. It's as good a time as any. It can be a little bit slow. A lot of people take vacations. A lot of the inspectors are on vacation too, so we can slow down getting inspections for our before we can move on to the next component.
That's your classic pro tip right there.
It's a big problem on some projects, but it's as good a time as any, and the heat, we can deal with it in a number of different ways.
Yeah. Did you have thoughts on that, Phil?
Yeah, it's just when we install a system or there's being construction being done inside a house, you definitely don't want to run your air conditioning or your heating as best you can. The newer systems are just built with a lot tighter tolerances than they were 20 years ago. And so that dust and debris gets in there and it becomes almost impossible to clean it without taking it all apart. And I don't know that you want somebody taking apart something that doesn't need to be taken apart.
Gotcha.
That's a good point. Yeah, what we do on jobs is we cover up all the ducts. We make sure that the system doesn't come on because we're kicking up a lot of sawdust and dirt and debris and all that. So we make sure that the system is not being used, and that's why we bring in portable air conditioners.
Phil, it's obviously like the dead of summer, so I imagine most of the stuff you're doing right now has to do with cooling. But I always wonder when we, obviously seasons are the seasons and winter is coming. And so is there anything we ought to be thinking about now in the summer in terms of looking ahead to what we know is coming down the pike for our heating systems right now? Is this a good time to do anything or get out ahead of anything?
Usually what I tell people is as we get into August and into September, at least, please, turn your heating system on to make sure it turns on. Because the first cold day our phones are ringing off the hook.
Right.
And we
Because
can't-
everybody just switched
everybody
them
just
on.
turned them on, and we can't get there fast enough.
Yep.
And everybody's everybody's pregnant, and they have a grandmother that's in trouble. So we try, but that can be the issue. But I just say turn it on ahead of time. Also, the average heating and air conditioning system is going to last about 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
So once you start to hit that window, it's really imperative that you go out and do some research on your own and figure out what you want to do should you have a failure or preemptively do something. Because if you wait until it's broken, you're going to get whatever we can get off the shelf because it's an emergency and we got to get it in right away. And you may not be able to make the best decision for yourself or your home at that point.
Right on. All right, we are just about out of time here, but before I let you go, sneak one more question in here. Texter says, sick of getting on the roof and cleaning their gutters. Did the leaf filters actually work?
Some do.
There you go.
But not all of them.
Some do, not all of them. Is there a good one, or is it just kind of like look at the ratings, pick one?
We've worked with a client hired them. Gutter Guard, I think was the name of it. Gutter Guard. It's a sort of a proprietary product that can only be bought through the dealer.
Got it.
And they actually did work pretty well.
All right. So now I'll get to before we close this segment, Mark. I wanted to give you a second to talk about. I hear you're doing a Pan Mass Challenge thing. Tell us about this.
Yeah, it's coming up August 1st, a week from Saturday. Hard to believe. Hope I'm ready.
So for folks who, I think everybody sort of generally around here knows what it is. But what's the Pan Mass Challenge and what do you do?
Well, what they do is it's a bike. They call it the Pan Mass Challenge. It's a fundraiser. It's all on bikes. And they raise money for cancer research and cancer care. 100% of the donations go to Dana-Farber.
Yep.
And who partner with the Jimmy Fund. And it involves multiple bike races. Some of them go from, they're now going from Holy Cross all the way to P-Town. Some of them go just down to Bourne. There's a couple of smaller races for people who don't want to put in those kind of miles. But it all goes to the same pot. It all goes to Dana-Farber,
so
100%.
You will be biking?
Yeah, I'm going to be biking.
From where to where?
I'm going from Babson College in Wellesley down to Bourne. I'm only doing it for one day.
Okay.
And last year, that's a lot, 84 miles. Last year we raised $78 million.
Incredible. All right.
For 100% of it goes to Dana-Farber. So you can just go to PMC, www.pmc.org. You can do a rider search, or you can just donate directly to PMC.
Phil?
And anybody that's been treated like myself at Dana-Farber, it is a wonderful place to be at. They really take care of their people over there.
Awesome. All right. We've been
it's a great
speaking
cause.
with Mark Philben, Project Development Manager at Charlie Allen Renovations in Cambridge, and the guy behind the Boston Globe's Ask the Remodeler series, and Phil Baldwin, President of CPS Heating and Cooling, based in Westborough. Thank you both, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And I believe Henry Santoro is with us. Henry, in some ways, I think Phil, as a cooling guy, is your mortal enemy because his job is to keep things not hazy, hot, and Henry in the house.
I am live at the public library today, so anybody can come on down. Nice to hear your voice, Edgar. We are having Aidan McGee on, owner of McGonagall's and the Dubliner. We're going to do a recap of what it was like with dealing with the World Cup madness that was in Boston a few weeks ago.
That sounds pretty
Also,
excellent.
we're going to get our Latin music on with Gonzalo Grau, and then we're going to talk 100 years of Regina Pizzeria.
Beautiful.
It's 100 years old, and we're going to crawl into that hot oven where it will be hazy, hot, and heavy.
Sounds delicious. That's Henry Santoro in for Jared Bowen with the Culture Show coming your way in about a minute. As for us, that about does it for now. The Curiosity Desk is produced by Aidan Connolly, Rachel Armani, Olivia Corcio, and Hannah Loss. Our interns, Mukta Dharmapurkar, Patty Daniels, and Jamie Bologna always filter our hot air. Engineer John LaClaw Parker. Special thanks to Andrew Massawa. We will be right back here in 23 short hours on GBH 89.7. Can't wait that long. We got the podcast version of the show. You can check that out anytime. And until next time, I'm Edgar B. Herwick III. Stay curious out there.
What's trending? What's interesting? What's going on around town? We're talking all things arts and culture on The Culture Show. Next on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And Subaru of New England. The all-wheel drive 2026 Subaru Outback is designed for summer adventures. Subaru retailer locations at subaruofnewengland.com. NAACP.com. In Canada, a baby turtle ventures through a forest in search of the lake, and a young bush baby in South Africa searches for a new home. Don't miss nature. Big Little Journeys, tonight at 8 on GBH2.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
Good afternoon with the latest from the GBH Culture Show news desk. I'm Craig Lamolt. Right now, the Red Sox are hosting the Orioles at Fenway for the first in a doubleheader today because of last night's rainout. And these are no ordinary games. If the Sox win this first one, it'll be their 15th win in a row, tying a franchise record that was set way back in 1946. It's a stunning turnaround for a team that started the season with a 10-17 record. Christian Arcand of WEEI says recently the vibe at Fenway has been electric.
It's because of all the angst and misery from the first 2 months. It was all built up, and now everyone has something to cheer for.
If the Sox manage to win this afternoon, they have a shot to set a new team record of 16 wins in a row in the second game, which starts at 7:10. And if you're not going to Fenway tonight, you can head on down to the Hat Shell at 7 for a free performance from the Boston Landmark Orchestra, featuring Leonard Bernstein's symphonic dances from West Side Story. Tonight's show at the Hat Shell features some guests, including Marcus Santos and his Grooversity Brazilian Drumming Ensemble. And of course, it's also free outdoor movie season. Tonight we got the Minecraft movie at Castle Island. Tomorrow night it's How the Grinch Stole Christmas at Boston Landing and the Mario Galaxy movie at Revere Beach.
The Bowser name shall be feared once more! Oh no!
And Friday you can see Zootopia 2 at the Hat Shell and Space Jam at Kendall MIT.
Pardon me, Mr. Jordan. Could I have your John Hancock?
What's going on here?
Welcome to the Space Jam.
That's it for this edition of the GBH News Wednesday afternoon CultureCast. I'm Craig Lamolt. Next up, it's The Culture Show with the one and only Henry Santoro filling in today for Jared Bowen at the BPL.
I'm Henry Santoro. Coming up on The Culture Show. Boston's World Cup celebration proved the city does have a party gene. Pubs became gathering places for visiting fans, especially Scotland's exuberant Tartan Army, while late-night crowds gave the streets a new rhythm. Local bar owners join us to talk what should carry forward after the final whistle. Then Venezuelan-born musician Gonzalo Grau brings a world of sound to Boston, blending Latin jazz, flamenco, classical music, and the rhythms of home. He joins us ahead of local performances supporting earthquake relief in Venezuela, and to talk about a musical life built on crossing borders, genres, and traditions freely. And we serve up a slice of Boston history as Regina Pizzeria celebrates 100 years. From its North End roots to generations of customers across the region, Regina became more than a place to eat. Corporate chef Mark Murphy joins us to talk crust, tradition, and a century of loyalty. That's all right now, right here on The Culture Show.
The Culture Show is made possible in part by a generous contribution from the Fiducia Fund, proud to support this station's arts and culture programming.
I'm Henry Santoro in for Jared Bowen. This is The Culture Show, live on 89.7 FM and from our studio here at the Boston Public Library, and also streaming on the GBH News YouTube channel. When the World Cup came to town, Boston did something it rarely does. It stayed open late. The matches were played in Foxborough, but the celebration spread across the city, filling watch parties, hotels, bars, and restaurants with fans from all over the world. Scotland's Tartan Army made an especially vivid impression. We'll remember them for years, packing pubs across Boston and bringing kilts, bagpipes, and an almost non-stop party to the city's nightlife. Extended closing hours kept the celebration going until 3 a.m., not often seen here in Boston, and offered a glimpse of a livelier Boston after dark. Aidan McGee was in his element. He's a foodie who loves soccer and watched the crowds arrive at his restaurants, The Dubliner, which was in the shadow of the FIFA Fan Festival at the City Hall Plaza, and also at his fabulous restaurant, McGonagall's Pub in Dorchester. Well, now that the tournament is over, the question is, what did Boston learn? And how can the city build on that surge of tourism, that surge of energy, and late-night fun? Aidan, welcome back to the Culture Show.
Thanks for having me.
I don't know if you ever ran a marathon, but my guess is that's what it was like for those 3 weeks.
Yeah, just the Boston half marathon. But yeah, no, it was a crazy time. So we were kind of out the other end of it. We're still kind of getting things back on track from last Sunday, but it's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so you're finally getting around to catching your breath.
Exactly, yeah. So it was basically St. Patrick's Day every day, which you can imagine. That's what we kind of planned for, and that's what came into fruition. So it was amazing. I mean, our location across from the fan zone was pretty good, to say the least, but it was a great success.
You have worked in restaurants for years, both here and across the pond, in Ireland and England. Is there anything that can compare to World Cup fever?
I think maybe the London Marathon or Olympics that I was in London at that time. That was kind of quite comparable, but I think for the scale of London, it could take that impact. I think obviously Boston's a smaller city, and it was well spread out over the whole of America and Canada and Mexico. But I think the most of them were looking at Boston going, yeah, they nailed it.
And they did. Now, parties of 6, 8, or 10 people are something that you deal with every single day. But what's it like when 50 people walk in or more all at once?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of learned to deal with stuff like that, obviously, with there was a big line outside the door for a long time. Nearly every day, actually, which is kind of crowd control. So we kind of let people in slowly, and then obviously we have capacity rules and stuff, so we kind of keep within those boundaries. But we were well versed. There was a lot of back of house kind of stuff that we can do to get pints of Guinness and stuff out quicker than we normally would.
Many places did run out of beer and food. How did your restaurant survive?
No, that we definitely didn't run out of beer. We actually got a few large fridges in to cope with it.
So you thought ahead?
Yeah, I mean we had a few meetings obviously before to try and gear up for it, and that was we were just thinking, let's pretend it's St. Patrick's Day every day, and if it's not, we can cut back. But it was great.
Now that the World Cup is behind us, what are some of the positives and the negatives?
I think once we kind of look at it now, and maybe down the line, hopefully people like hospitality people in general can kind of come together now and ask that question along with the people that make the decisions and see where we can go from here. But I think the positivities was definitely to show that Boston is really a good place to come and have a good time, and people were really taken back by our friendliness. Obviously, we're renowned for that, but we're also kind of showcasing the city for what it is, and it really came off amazing.
The city really stepped up.
Yeah, and I think the credit to obviously the city and the organisers and everything, because there was a lot of negativity going into it, where there was a lot of like, oh, the traffic's going to be terrible, oh, the trains is not going to work, oh, this is going to be bad, and
it wasn't that way.
So hopefully they're all going to send nice messages to
I mean, the stadium holds the same amount of people as a Patriots game.
Exactly.
So there was no way that it was going to be any bigger than.
So I think that for me is a good learning curve for everybody to be like, let's be a bit more positive and see what we can do together to create that. After 10 o'clock, Boston really starts to get quiet. Maybe that's pre-COVID, or maybe it's just the area, but we probably more universities than anybody in the country.
Yeah.
So that demographic is there. What's stopping them going out? Is it an economic thing? Is it whatever it is? But I think we need to get to the bottom of it and try and get that culture back into, if it needs to be more live music, if it needs to be different variety of things than, drinking in bars.
Was staying open that extra hour worth it for the sanity of you and your staff?
I think we didn't really use it that much. It was an option, obviously. I don't think we needed it personally as a business, because we were just busy from 11 o'clock in the morning to 2 a.m. anyway. But I think there's a very deep down other economic thing where there's a load of hospital workers and bartenders that are finishing maybe 1 or 2 o'clock or 12 o'clock, or they're finished in the hospital, there's nowhere really to eat or drink at that time. Also, the police, the fire, there's a lot of nighttime workers finishing late. And when you finish work at 3 o'clock in the day or 3 in the morning, hopefully you can have somewhere to unwind before. And also transport's quite difficult. There's a good chance you're going to have to get an Uber, or because the trains aren't running. So I think there's a lot to look into and kind of go for it.
I used to bartend on the clubs at Lansdowne Street back in the Spit and Axis and Metro days, and at 2 o'clock, you're right. I mean, you're all wound up from working a full shift, and you're looking for somewhere to go, just to some place to hang out and unwind. If I were Governor Healy and Boston Mayor Wu, I would probably organize a powwow of restaurant and bar owners so that they could share their feedback, like you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Would you be up for something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always up to helping everybody. It's if we don't work together, the whole thing will not work.
During Christmas and New Year's Eve, Chinese restaurants offer special streamlined menus to help them deal with the many orders that they get throughout the course of the holiday. Did you stick to your traditional menus, or did you create some special menus to help ease the chaos in the kitchen?
Yeah, so we had another back patio upstairs. We done a reduced menu there, but I did try, and the head chef there said, no, we'll be fine, we'll deal with it. And they did. But I mean, the Dubliner is pretty busy all the time, so we were kind of lucky in that way, where it was a little bit more busier, but we adjusted. But we didn't. The menu's not huge, if that makes sense. It's not like 10.
It's not pages long, right?
Yeah. So we're very.
It's not the Cheesecake Factory.
I didn't want to say that, but yes, you're right. We cook everything from scratch, make our own breads and everything.
Well, you worked at a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, a few of them. So it's keeping the quality up when you're doing volume is important. So we would never really serve something that if you're doing it for 10 covers or 1,000 covers, it needs to be the same product. And we're kind of geared up for that anyway. So we can do 600-700 covers a day anyway in the Dubliner. So when you add on maybe 20-30%, it's pretty good.
Yeah. The Women's World Cup takes over several cities in Brazil next June and July. It's a year away. But are you thinking yet about how you're going to put together watch parties and plan for that?
I thought you said you're going to open a restaurant in Brazil. I think we haven't really caught our breath, but I think, looking at the last Women's World Cup, we did see an uptick in the Dubliner, where the women's team was definitely looked upon as the soccer team. But I think obviously now there's going to be a big push now for the soccer or football or whatever.
Yeah, at GBH we're talking about how we're gonna cover it.
Yeah,
because
brilliant.
There's been a big uptick in the interest in soccer, and women's soccer in particular has really been popular.
Yeah, and with the new stadium hopefully being built out in Riviera, I believe, that it's amazing. It's amazing to kind of see. And obviously with the sports in Boston, we do love the sports. So
well, that's just it. I mean, this is a sports town through and through.
Yeah.
We deal with the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the Super Bowl, the World Series.
Yeah.
And
the Red Sox going to win now.
How about those Red Sox?
Yeah. I don't know who was slating them a couple of months ago, but they're back in the back.
They are totally back, and they're playing right now.
Yeah,
and they got a doubleheader today. So if they win today, they tie the record. If they win tonight, they set a new record.
Amazing. 1946, I think. Last time.
I think you're
amazing.
right. Oh, you're a fan.
Huh? Yeah.
Let's say that I am coming into one of your restaurants. Let's say McGonigal's. You and I are going to dine together. I am going to let you order. What are we having?
McGonigal's is kind of very much a neighborhood bar where the Dubliners, downtown.
One of the best bars in the country.
Yeah, it's the New York Times top 50 best restaurants this year, so that's been amazing for us. So we kind of wanted to take a local pub bar, and kind of the hint is in the name, is a public house. So something for the people to come into, And, you know, at lunchtime you might have, you know, your classic sandwiches and Reubens and stuff like that there, but obviously stuff with Irish identity as well. So if we're coming in for dinner, we hand make all our own pies. Fish and chips is probably the biggest seller at the Dubliner and McGonigal's. It's kind of, people recognise what it is straight away, but I think the fish and chips would be something we'd definitely have for our entree, but maybe Scotch egg at the Dubliner, but McGonigal's maybe a spice bag. I'm not sure if you ever
You make
heard of
Scotch
that.
eggs?
Scotch eggs at the Dubliner, yeah. So
explain what a Scotch egg is.
So a Scotch egg is something that you would have found in Victorian times in bars in Ireland and in England. So it's a soft boiled egg. It's quite runny, and then you wrap it in pork meat. And then you bread it, fry it, and you cut it. So when you cut it, it's perfectly cooked and oozy in the middle.
And they're so delicious.
Oh, amazing. Have that with a pint of beer. It's perfect.
And I will say, I have not been to McGonigal's, but I have been to the Dubliner many, many times. And you've got the best fish and chips in town.
Good,
no question.
Yeah, it's good to hear. We go through about a half a ton a week in Haddock between the two places. We get it fresh from Iceland. It's quite, for me, it's the best haddock we can get. And
is that for both places too?
Yeah. Same product. And they actually the fishermen flew in for a convention. They came to Dubliner. They had to employ one more person just to get our order out weekly. I've had to do runs to the airport to pick up because I'm trying to keep up. But that's a good complaint on one dish.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
no,
that's
not.
business, and that's
exactly.
business is good. And the Dubliner, pretty much the same menu.
Yeah, similar. McGonigal's, we kind of introduced pizzas. There's a big pizza movement in Ireland now at the moment, where there's artisan-y pizzas, and I suppose maybe the Dave Portnoy effect of those New York style, New Haven style. So that's kind of what we're in. But with McGonigal's, we really want somebody to be fit to afford to come in there twice a week, and we do half price pizzas on Tuesdays. We've done that since we opened. We do pasta and a beer on Thursday nights for $20. So it's trying to make sure that accessibility to eating out is for everybody.
And we have Pizzeria Regina in the house today too, as well. Portnoy gave them a 9.1.
Wow.
I give them a 10.
Well, exactly.
I love Pizzeria Regina. Aidan McGee is the chef and partner at the Dubliner and McGonigal's Pub. Aidan, thank you so much for coming in. This has been a great chat. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, Venezuelan-born musician Gonzalo Grau brings Latin music, flamenco, and classical traditions into one exhilarating sound and uses it to rally support for earthquake relief in Venezuela. He's next on The Culture Show. Stick around.
The Culture Show is made possible in part by a generous contribution from the Fiducia Fund, proud to support this station's arts and culture programming.
I'm Arun Roth. Today on GBH's All Things Considered, after an undersea pandemic in the Pacific Ocean nearly wiped out the sunflower starfish, a Northwest tribe is working to bring them back from the brink of extinction. And the Red Sox are playing a day-night doubleheader with a chance to break their franchise record for their longest winning streak. Those stories and all the day's news starting at 4 on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And the Cape Playhouse in Dennis Village. Now playing Hairspray, the Tony Award winner for Best Musical. A joyful romp through the early 60s based on John Waters' iconic film. Tickets for Hairspray at capeplayhouse.com. And Cambridge Trust, a division of Eastern Bank, offering business and personal wealth management and private banking services. Investing more than $240 million in local communities since 1994. More at cambridgetrust.com. And New Bedford Whaling Museum, presenting summer exhibits including Sailor's Valentines, Maritime Art from the Heart, Proteana, Susan Heidman, and Look Pleasant, Please, Early Portrait Photography in New Bedford, whalingmuseum.org.
The GBH News app is your daily home for essential local news. The stories you actually need to know, without distractions, noise, or paywalls. Download the GBH News app today on the App Store or Google Play.
I'm Henry Santoro, live from the Boston Public Library and streaming on the GBH News YouTube channel. You're listening to The Culture Show, and we are listening to Gonzalo Grau and Pluralizate. Plural is more than the name of Gonzalo Grau's band. It describes a musical life spent bringing different traditions into conversation. Born in Caracas and trained at Berklee College of Music, Grau is a pianist, he's a composer, arranger, multi-instrumentalist whose music moves through Venezuelan rhythms, Latin, jazz, flamenco, and also the classical concert hall. His work has carried him from Grammy-nominated recordings to commissions for the Los Angeles Philharmonic and collaborations with Gustavo Dudamel, Yo-Yo Ma, and Brooklyn Ryder. Now he's back in Boston, reuniting with longtime musical collaborators. On July 25th, Gonzalo Grau and Plural will play a free concert at Long Live Roxbury that'll also support the Massachusetts United for Venezuela Fund, created after the devastating earthquakes that struck northern Venezuela on June 24th. He returns to Long Live on July 30th, and when he'll perform with Alex Alvear and the Ecuadorian Council as the relief effort continues. Gonzalo Grau, welcome back to Boston. Welcome to The Culture Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and happy to be here.
You are not just a 1998 graduate of Berklee. You are a 1998 summa cum laude graduate of Berklee. How does it feel to be back in town?
Well, this is my second home for sure. I spent beautiful years while I was at Berklee. And after Berklee, meeting amazing musicians, to me, I would say the most creative moment in my life happened here in Boston. And still, 30 years later, I mean, it's easy to say 30 years, but it's...
Well, hold on a second. 1998, you look like you're 18.
Oh, come on. Well, thank you.
You look like you're 18. There's no way you graduated.
Music definitely keep us.
Music is love.
Yeah, and I mean, music is the best healing thing that we have in life, for sure. I mean, I not just for me, but all my musician friends, we all look very good, to say the least, yeah.
What's your impression of Boston as a music city?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic because it's not just Berklee. Is everything that happens here, and is an amazing place to meet people, which is to me is the most important thing from music. Music is a beautiful art form, but to me is all about meeting people and sharing music, making music with your friends. It just basically becomes a second family.
Boston is home to a great nonprofit that helps empower young people by getting them involved in the community through music. It is called Zoomix, and I know that you are familiar with it.
Oh, totally.
How did you find it when you were here, and what was your involvement?
Well, I was invited by the Boston Landmarks Orchestra to write orchestrate pieces for symphonic orchestra to be performed at the Hatch Hill. And through them, basically, they had also a program where the Boston Landmarks Orchestra and Zoomix collaborated together. When that happened, Zoomix basically invited me as, a guide, the main figure to guide the kids to write actually a music for symphonic orchestra. And in my role with these kids was, okay, let's put together a piece where you are going to be actually the composers of something for symphonic orchestra, and at the end perform together at the Hatch Hill with the Boston Landmarks Orchestra. And it was fantastic. I got to do this program 3 years in a row with them. It was amazing.
And these are inner city kids too.
Yeah, totally.
Very
And
cool.
it was beautiful, a beautiful program that I wish is kept going for sure.
Oh, it's going strong.
Yeah,
Zumix is really has a lot of support in this town. What did you grow up listening to, and how has it influenced your music today?
Wow. Do we have time in the program?
Well, what if we scrolled through your phone and looked at your playlist? What would we see?
Do we have time in the program? No, I mean, I was born in Venezuela, in Caracas, and Venezuela is a place where, of course, you have a lot of classical music. You have El Sistema going on over there. Both my parents are musicians, classically trained musicians, both of them conductors. And so my life was very much into classical music since I was born. I grew up playing the cello and playing in symphonic orchestras. But at the same time, being in Venezuela, you are exposed to amazing popular music, traditional Venezuelan folkloric music and music of the world. And eventually I was, the balance between, because for me, the serious part, of course, was the classical studies,
right.
And everything else was my hobby.
But did you listen to Nirvana and Pearl Jam?
Everything. I was very much at the time, I guess, very much into Sting, very much into the Police, very much into Queen music, right? And that mixed with, of course, with the Venezuelan traditions, and eventually I was like, I have to do this more serious. I have to give the popular music some seriousness, just as Bach and Beethoven. This deserves the same. That's why I basically applied for Berklee College of Music, and I came here under a scholarship and did my studies here, just to give the popular music the same seriousness, I guess.
You must have some very early memories of music because of your parents and growing up in the home that you did. You started playing cello at 3 years old? Is that?
3, yeah. A tiny
How
cello.
Did you? Yeah.
A very tiny cello.
It was like a violin. You held it like a cello.
It is maybe the size of a viola. It's called an eighth of a cello, and I do have photos of that, where I am 3 years old and playing a very tiny cello, but with a very serious face.
And is it true that you began composing at age 4?
Yeah, I mean, I was very much interested, always interested in creating music. I mean, since I have memory, I was always either leading some kind of band. We are putting together a little group. I guess that comes in my genes because of my parents.
I'm always curious as to how musicians, bands, and composers listen to music at home. I still listen to vinyl. I have 25,000 pieces of vinyl in my home.
Fantastic.
And I have 3 turntables. But how do you listen? Do you listen digitally? Do you listen to vinyl, CDs? What's your method?
A little bit of everything. But I have to say that streaming platforms are basically right now very useful. Because I travel a lot, so it's very hard to travel with all my records.
And suppose we're having a party at your house tonight. What are you playing?
Oh my God! Okay, I would probably start with a mix of Latin music, salsa with Earth, Wind and Fire and Michael Jackson.
I like that. That's it. Now, Venezuela is dealing with the terrible aftermath of the June 24th earthquakes, and you are letting the music do the talking this week as you help raise funds for relief efforts. What can we expect from your Boston performances?
Well, this particular band that I'm going to be playing with, this is a beautiful project called Plural or Plural, and is a mix of different styles of music. It's a band that also takes different formats. Sometimes, depending on where I put together, Plural can be a little bit more flamenco, maybe could be a little bit more Venezuelan, a little bit more jazzy, or
some of it has a real Cuban beat to it.
Yes, in this case, because of the Plural that I put together here in Boston, is a little bit more Cubanish for sure. It has that Latin flavor. And I am so grateful that we are also taking this opportunity to help what just happened, the tragedy that just happened in Venezuela. I happened to be there when this happened, and and definitely we need as much help as possible.
How familiar are you with the region that was hit by those earthquakes?
Oh, very much, very much. It's not far from Caracas. We actually got hit in Caracas too. I was there, and it's something that you cannot imagine the strength of something like that. You feel tiny when something like this happens. And La Guaira, which is the area that is the most affected, we are talking about almost 200 buildings collapsing at the same time. That is only 40 minutes from Caracas.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's right there.
Your family's okay?
My family, yeah, thank God, family and relatives are all good, and close friends are good, but it's tragedy what we're living through.
You were just in Caracas. Before you came to Boston, you were in Caracas. Mm-hmm. And I'm told you had a pretty tough time getting out of there.
It's complicated because our main airport is also in La Guaira, in the area that is affected. So our main international airport is closed still to the day, and it's being repaired. We'll see when that's going to happen. So yeah, getting here was out of normal, I guess. Yeah.
Also happening, Venezuelans are keeping their eyes and ears on news stations today.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because today is the day that the former president, Nicolas Maduro, is back in the Manhattan courtroom for a pre-trial hearing. He's expected to continue objecting to President Trump's U.S. military action that took him from power, brought him to New York to face drug trafficking charges. A, have you been following this story? And B, what are your thoughts on it, as well as the thoughts of your fellow countrymen?
Wow, it's been a turmoil since the beginning of the year. January 3rd was the day I was also in Caracas when this happened and Maduro was taken. And of course, I mean, we have big expectations of change in the country.
Right.
We still don't see that change as much as we would like to, because even though Maduro was removed, still there is a lot of, I guess...
is the regime pretty much still the same?
It's pretty much still the same. I think we see some changes, but the changes are mostly in the economics of the country, and I guess we all as citizens are still hoping for a more clear political, I guess, resolution, because right now things are still kind of like you don't really know what's going on.
Right.
That's kind of like the feeling if you live there in Venezuela. It's like, okay, life continues. You have to keep working. You have to. It was a little bit crazy when that happened, because just a few days after that we were like, okay, we have to keep working. We have to keep doing what we do.
Doing what you do. Sure.
Life continues. Life definitely continues, and. Whatever is, I mean, I guess we have learned in Venezuela that whatever the struggle is, we just have to cope with it and keep going.
And then everything shifted once those earthquakes hit too.
Oh yeah, well that's
a totally different. It's a whole another animal. But
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
it's going to take the country. That I'm sure is going to take decades to recover, because the country, no country, I would say that no country is really prepared for anything like this. It's a double earthquake that happened in 39 seconds for everything to change. And but the infrastructure of Venezuela definitely is going to take us years or decades to start recovering.
It takes forever to rebuild.
So all the help that we can get, internationally, I think is very important.
And people can contribute when they come to these
concerts.
Totally.
Yes. The concert is free. So come over, and there's going to be a stand there where you can definitely help and contribute the fund for Venezuela.
And your music will be uplifting, and that's what you do?
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Let's go back to your music and play some of Odessa.
Odisea.
Odisea.
Yeah, Odisea. Yeah.
What can you tell us about this?
The Odisea was actually commissioned by Gustavo Dudamel and the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra. It's let's say it's kind of like a crossover, because it's a concerto for our national instrument in Venezuela, which is called the cuatro. It's a very tiny guitar.
But it's thick, right?
It's similar to an ukulele, a little bit bigger than an ukulele, but is definitely smaller than the guitar. It's mainly an instrument that is for to accompany singing, and it's an instrument that is very much present in all Venezuela, in different regions of Venezuela, but you always find the cuatro. I guess maybe that's one of the reasons why we call it the national instrument. And Gustavo Dudamel, and through the Los Angeles Philharmonic, he commissioned to me a concerto for this little guitar and orchestra that was premiered in Los Angeles. I believe it was 2022. Mm-hmm. And it has been recorded and performed in many different stages worldwide now.
All right, let's give it a listen. It's beautiful. It's whimsical. It's fun. It reminds me of a beautiful spring walk.
That's pretty much the sound of it. Yes, I mean it's an instrument that you find it in all different aspects of or styles of Venezuelan folklore.
Right.
From east to west, you find the cuatro in many different styles. And what I did with the Odyssey is basically a journey that goes from the east side of Venezuela to the center, almost west side of Venezuela, and is let's say fictitious encounter of our soloist Jorge Glem with Gustavo Dudamel, because they are both from different parts of Venezuela. So it's all of that is represented in the Odyssey.
Are there any instruments that you don't play?
Well, I mean, I guess brass instruments, trumpets, trombones. Yeah. I didn't get to, but I enjoy very much writing for all of that.
And do you have any new projects in the works that you can share with us?
I am right now writing a concerto for cello and orchestra. I am writing also a concerto for double bass and orchestra to be premiered in Japan next year. And I was just commissioned by the New York Philharmonic, also through Gustavo Dudamel. I was commissioned to write a song cycle of poems of an amazing poet that we have in Venezuela. His name is Rafael Cadenas, who won a very important award, the Cervantes Award in Spain.
Well, poets and writers in general are very famous and popular in Venezuela.
Totally. And then this poet in particular, Rafael Cadenas, he just won the Cervantes Award a few years ago, and I am thrilled and so humbled to be able to make music with the New York Philharmonic and keep.
Well, you're making music with everybody.
Yeah, well,
that's what it sounds like.
That's my mission.
Music is love.
Yes.
Music is love.
Totally.
Gonzalo Grau is a Venezuelan-born pianist, composer, arranger, and multi-instrumentalist, and the leader of Plural. Gonzalo Grau and Plural performs Saturday, July 25th at 6 p.m. That's this Saturday at Long Live Roxbury. He'll return on Thursday, July 30th at 6 p.m. at the same venue, joining Alex Alvear and the Ecuadorian Council. Both concerts are free, as we said, and they will support the Massachusetts United for Venezuela Fund. They need our help. Go to this show. Gonzalo, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me again.
Coming up, we're going to serve a slice of Boston's history. Believe it or not, but Regina Pizzeria is 100 years old. That conversation next on The Culture Show.
Mexico City is sinking. In some neighborhoods, there's alarm at the speed it's happening.
That is going down as fast as 42 centimeters a year, faster than your hair grows.
The sinking poses an existential threat to homes and infrastructure. Left unchecked, it could make entire areas unlivable. That's next time on The World.
This afternoon at 3, here on GBH News 89.7.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Maine Maritime Museum, offering oyster tasting cruises throughout the summer. Visitors can learn about aquaculture from Maine's oyster farmers and experience freshly shucked oysters. MaineMaritimeMuseum.org. And Modern Pest Services, providing integrated pest management for Boston homes and businesses. Modern Pest uses a prevention-first approach to seasonal pests to help target the source of the problem. Learn more at modernpest.com. And Roto-Rooter, providing plumbing, drain cleaning, and water cleanup services in North America since 1935. 24/7 emergency services available. Service information and scheduling can be found at rotorooter.com.
When you can't get your daily dose of Jim and Marjorie on the radio, you can still get it sent right to your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Download the Boston Public Radio podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And don't miss a moment of Boston Public.
The Boston Public Library on 89.7 and streaming on the GBH News YouTube channel. Well, for the past year, Boston has been at the center of America's 250th, revisiting the tea, the lanterns, the battles, all that helped launch this great nation. But Boston history is not only found in monuments and battlefields, sometimes it comes by the slice. This year, Pizzeria Regina Pizzeria, is celebrating its centennial year, 100 years of the best pie in Boston. What began on Thatcher Street in 1926 grew into part of the city's everyday life, from the lines outside the North End Original to slices served at food courts and train stations across the region, all while Regina's charred, chewy crust and tangy sauce and whole milk mozzarella became a taste that generations of Bostonians recognize as their greasy deliciousness own. Mark Murphy is the corporate chef for Regina Pizzeria. He joins us to celebrate a century of Regina and to talk about how one pizzeria became inseparable from Boston's culinary identity. Mark Murphy, thank you so much for coming to the Culture Show. It's great to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Every day you get to create something that everybody loves, and that's pizza. You never find someone that doesn't like pizza. How awesome is your job?
It's pretty good. A lot of calories and a lot of extra weight sometimes, though.
You don't need me to tell you that Boston was a totally different city back in 1926. Neither one of us were around back then. So much, though, has changed and followed by the wayside. But one thing that has not changed is that big, beautiful brick pizza oven at the original North End location. But it wasn't always a pizza oven, right?
No, prior to it being Regina's, it was a bakery, and that oven dates back to the 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so if it was a bakery, they were doing breads?
They were doing breads, some desserts. I was it like we said, we weren't around then. I'm not sure exactly, but it got used for that. It got converted. It was a coal oven, got converted to gas, and now it's been 100 years of putting out Regina Pizza.
Now, I know just from cooking at home myself that woks and cast iron skillets only get better with age. Can we say that the same goes for pizza ovens?
Absolutely.
How so?
It gets seasoned. You're constantly cooking in it. It's our dough. It's the flavor. It's the scent. It's the aroma of that. It's all in there. It's embedded into it.
Can you give us a brief history of Regina Pizzeria?
Yeah, so it started back, like I said, in the 1800s. That oven was there. It got converted into a...
Same shop.
From there, we started off. It was a pizzeria. There was an Italian family. They started it up, started selling pizzas, fresh ingredients, a simple pizza, which still to this day, not to fast forward, you can't go wrong with just getting a cheese pizza from there. It was a neighborhood restaurant putting out the best they could, fresh ingredients, buying stuff locally. And then it blossomed into what we have now. Is just the years went on, there's locations closed, locations have opened, but We have 10 locations that we operate.
And they're really spaced well throughout the city.
Yes, absolutely.
And airport. Who's Regina? Do we know? Does anybody even know?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't have the answer to that either. It's a good trivia question.
Not counting toppings on pizza, it's really only 3 ingredients. It's dough, it's sauce, and it's cheese.
It is.
But it's not that simple.
It's not. Our dough is our recipe. Some would call it a secret recipe. We age our dough for 7 to 10 days. And then it gets shipped out to the location. So some people are familiar with like a sourdough starter. Our dough is not a sourdough, but we age it for long term. That gives us that airy dough, that gives us that crunch, that gives us everything. Tomatoes grown for us in California.
From a specific farm.
From a specific farm out in California, yep. Those come into us. And then as well with our cheese, we have a special blend of mozzarella that Saputo cheese manufactures for us.
And that's aged as well.
It is.
So is it the age?
It's the sweet spot where it all just comes together. We use a low moisture mozzarella. You'll see in some places the cheese browns.
Yeah.
And there's no additives to ours. We're shredding our cheese in-house at all locations.
Open that box over there. That's the cheese pizza. See, that's perfect. That's a perfect pie.
Yep. Can't go wrong with that. Perfect pepperoni, too.
And how much? That's like a whole stick of pepperoni on that thing.
There's about in between 50, 60 pepperonis on there. Can't go wrong. Load it up.
Is the Regina pie that I had last week, is it made the same way as the one I had 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
It is, and that's what's I think we're doing a great job at. We're not cutting corners. We're not trying to have machines or something stretch your dough or things like that. It's a hand-stretched pizza. We have a lot of employees. They've been with us for a long time. There's a little bit of an art to it for them. They make a hand-stretched pizza.
Do they compete amongst themselves sometimes?
Sometimes, you got your guys that, some of the leaders, some of the followers. But, it's like anything. You get a lot of home people making pizzas in their ovens at home.
What's the perfect temperature to cook a pizza at, and how many can you fit in that oven at once?
For us, in that oven in the north end, you're looking at about 550 to 600 degrees, and you fit about 16 larges in there, but also if we have smalls too. So it could be a whole Tetris game of smalls and larges in there, and we kind of rotate it through.
Yeah.
Because as you know, maybe from being in New England, some people like it well done, some people like it crispy.
Little stiff on the bottom.
Yeah. So
when I try to make a pizza at home, I, for the life of me, can't get the air pockets in the crust. It's just doughy. What am I doing wrong?
Well, it's all in your dough. Like you might be using 00 flour. That gives you that Neapolitan style,
right?
Almost
but
chewy,
then that should
crunchy.
be paper thin.
Yeah. For us, we use I'm not going to tell you which dough we use, which flour we use, but we do use a high protein flour, and that gives us the consistency of the dough that we want.
And that's what puts those.
What gives you those air pockets?
That's like it's like baking an artisan bread.
Yeah, and that's like you see it in bagels and breads and things like that.
Pizzeria Regina is to pizza what the James Hook Lobster Company is to lobster rolls. I mean, tourists come from far and wide to eat at both places, which begs the question at Regina, how can you tell a tourist from a local?
Everyone knows what they want when they go there if you're from here.
Right.
Like you're going to go there, you're going to see a Bruins game, Celtics game.
Slice-a-roni.
We're going to go in, we're going to get a large Giambata, or we're going to get this and that. The tourists have a little more time with the menu. They might be asking a few more questions when they're in line.
But there's not a whole lot of stuff on the menu.
There's one simple menu. There's 20. It's about 20 specialty pizzas.
And it's pizza. There's no salad.
There's no salad.
There's no appetizer.
No dessert.
It's pizza.
Pizza, beer, wine.
Are you at liberty to tell us what kind of pepperoni you use?
Yeah, I can. I mean, we use a Hormel lay flat pepperoni. Yeah.
And because it's not as greasy as some pepperoni.
It's not, and that's the same pepperoni that you can get at your local grocery stores too.
Right. Yeah. And there's just enough grease on there.
Yeah.
To ruin a nice shirt.
Oh, absolutely.
and that's the calling card.
It is.
That's the calling card. 2 signature Regina pies, as you mentioned, the Giambata, and the St. Anthony pie, which you'll be making a lot of coming up, I'm sure. They are special to Regina. Can you describe what each one is?
So the Giambata is what some people might call like an everything.
It's got the works.
You got the works. You got pepperoni, salami, Regina sausage, mushrooms, peppers, and onions, all on there. Cheese on top. Get that well done. It's a bite of everything. St. Anthony, a little bit of a different world. Still peppers, onions, which are roasted. We roast them in a spicy oil. Linked sausage, which is sliced sausage like you would get. Crumbled sausage, garlic sauce. And that is just full of flavor. You get spiciness from the roast on the veg.
And it's more of a white pizza.
It's a white pizza.
Yeah, it's a white pizza. But here, once again, this is where I totally mess up at home. Toppings like peppers and onions, and especially mushrooms, can make a pizza, can make the crust soggy.
They're a watery topping. For us,
but not yours.
Well, we have our ovens are very hot, and we cook our pizzas very quick.
How long does it take to cook a large pizza?
A large cheese pizza, 8 to 9 minutes. Don't hold me to that, everyone, when you're going to order from the North End or anything like that. That's like if we were just getting started, you know. 8, 9, 10 minutes, we could throw one in and out. But ovens also fluctuate in temperature.
Right, the more you open the door.
The more you're opening the door, the more you're cooking on it, things like that. But yeah, those, we're using fresh toppings as well. I'm not sure if I'm not knocking what you're doing, but are you getting like a canned?
No, absolutely
fresh?
not. No,
yeah.
Nothing.
So we're
nothing
using
comes
fresh
out of a can
mushrooms,
at my
peppers,
house.
onions, and those are going right in the oven, and the pizza's cooking quick.
So you're slicing the mushrooms, you're slicing the onions, you're slicing the peppers.
And those toppings are staying crispy on top because.
And you're shredding the cheese.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm ready to dive into one of those boxes right now. What? How did you guys survive World Cup?
We did phenomenal.
Any idea how many pies you sold?
No, I couldn't quote how many pies, but I could tell you that some of our shoebox, as I would say, restaurants, Faneuil Hall, South Station, the North End is a shoebox in itself too, but those stores did phenomenal.
Describe the North End restaurant, because that is about as old school. Again, so much has changed in the city of Boston. I mean, we've seen the changes just in our lifetime. But you walk in.
And you wait in line. You don't just walk in.
No, you got to wait in line. True.
Some say that's part of the experience. The line could go right down Thatcher Street, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. Like you said, people reach out from all over the country. Can I get a reservation for 10? No. We get the email.
Not what
I'm like,
we do.
No, what do you mean you can't seat 10 people together? I'm like, there's not enough room for 10 people.
And there are these classic old-style wooden
old
booths.
school wooden booths, like almost like church pew booths, old school tables, the Formica count, like the top, and just very strategically placed to squeeze you all in there. And probably, quite possibly, a lot of things that are grandfathered in.
How long have you been with the company?
I'm going on 25 years now.
And what did you do prior to?
I've been in the restaurant business since I was 16 years old. So I started
off as a pot washer.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And a delivery driver. And then I went into working at a lot of different local restaurants, city, suburbs, and then Polcari's is a sister restaurant to Regina's, and I took a job as a saute cook there in my early 20s.
Another legendary Boston establishment.
It's true.
I mean, what is it about the city of Boston and Regina Pizzeria?
It's an iconic brand, and there's no gimmicks. We've been doing it the way we've been doing it. Fresh ingredients, quality products. We're not trying to push out, quantities, which we do.
Which you do, yeah. But you do it right.
We do it right.
Every pie is the way it should be.
And our guys and our managers and our staff, they care about it. They take care of it. We're not going to just sell pizza to make money. We're going to sell a quality product.
You put pride into it.
Yeah.
Can you taste passion in a pizza pie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you can.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's where that aged dough, that fresh mozzarella, and that tangy sauce, that's passion to me. I would bathe in that sauce.
I'm not going to deny the fact that I have a slice almost every day.
Good for you.
Don't tell my doctor that.
That is a ringing endorsement, right? And the laugh that followed is the ringing endorsement as well. It's just so we've got the festivals coming up. The World Cup is behind us. The North End is about to get literally packed to the rafters.
Festival season's coming right in August.
Every weekend in August.
Every weekend in August. The show for us is St. Anthony's Feast. That's at the end of end of August. The 27th.
But the build-up is unbelievable. I mean, I've been going to those feasts since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I used to know Anthony Martinetti from the Prince Spaghetti.
Yeah.
I worked with him for a while.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I'll tell you, walking through a feast with him, God rest his soul because he's no longer with us, but walking through a feast, it's like walking into a concert hall with Mick Jagger.
There we go, yeah.
And so how were you preparing for the feasts?
So
you do a culinary thing, right? Don't you?
I'll be up there doing several culinary demos that weekend. We have a lot of people doing a lot. We get all organized. We have a slice stand selling slices.
Out on the street.
Out on the street, just like all the other vendors. Then we have our restaurant that's up and operating as usual. Outside seating area with the full Regina's menu. And then a beer garden. So where Regina's, which is already a madhouse on a weekly basis with 3 more additional stops.
So you got your hands full.
Yeah.
But
and
it's
we look forward to it.
In a really good way.
Yeah, we love it.
That's so great. Chef Mark Murphy is the corporate chef for Regina Pizzeria, which opened in Boston's North End in 1926 and is celebrating its centennial throughout this year. You can learn more and find Regina locations at the pizzeria's website. Chef Mark Murphy, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for regaling us with the pepperoni and the cheese today. Again, your pepperoni pizza is the best in town. There's no question. It really is the best pie. So thank you so much. Good luck in the next 100 years.
Yeah.
and keep eating that slice a day.
I'm not going to be able to live that one down.
And thank you for listening to another edition of The Culture Show. Tune in tomorrow for writer George Saunders on his latest novel, Vigil, and actress Claire.
Is All Things Considered is coming up this afternoon at 4 with Marketplace at 6:30. But first, get a global view of the news with The World. Up next, here on GBH 89.7.